So I should be streaming. We'll find out in a minute. Uh,
Yeah, I got a mute screen on mine for
yeah.
when I
It's
start.
a couple. How many seconds behind is it? Do you know for sure?
With Twitch, you
Oh,
can set
okay.
it. So
That's right.
I
You're
have
on
mine set to the
Twitch.
shortest it can be. Yeah, but Twitch, you can you can set like a 2 minute delay if you want
Oh,
to.
wow. Cool.
Yeah, so I just put up
So I
like
should be
a
streaming.
oh there you are. I just put up a like a wait video
Oh, right
and
on.
I wait like 2 or 3 minutes,
That
dive
sounds
in.
cool.
Yeah,
So what are you working on today?
yeah. Oh, I don't
Anything?
know. No, I took today off, so I haven't been working on anything today. I've been working on Call of
Oh,
Duty
that's
Warzone
good.
today.
You like it?
Yeah, it's fun. I love like first
Oh,
person
okay.
shooters. So I used to be real into like Call of Duty Modern Warfare. We used to play it at some of my first like web design jobs. So it's like my let off steam
Yeah,
hobby.
it's a good one to
Yeah.
have.
Yeah, so they released a free to play battle royale version that's like basically like Fortnite but in the Call of Duty
Oh, okay. Yeah, yeah, Battle
universe.
Royale got super popular.
Yeah,
Like,
totally. Yeah. I like playing
that's
squads. It's
cool. You
fun.
got a squad, or you just do
It's
pickup?
good. I just do pickup for now. I've only been playing like
Oh,
3
really?
days.
I couldn't. I can't do it
Yeah.
on the computer.
Oh, see, I'm a PC guy. Most of the players are on like
Oh, I'm
Xbox or
sorry. I can do it
PlayStation.
on the computer. I can't do it on the controller very well. It just doesn't pan out.
Oh yeah, yeah. I'm the same way. I'm old school controller. Yeah, you're live. I
Yeah,
can
do
see
you
your
see me
bid.
messing with the background? It's like
I
updating.
can.
Yeah, it's a
It's pretty cool.
PSP file. You just hit save and it updates, and it's live. So
Yep. Are you using? I think I've asked you this, but are you using OBS or OBS
OBS.
Streamlabs?
It just says OBS.
What's the? Is it a black
Yep,
icon with
it's
like a
like a
circle?
ninja. It's a mall ninja star.
Yeah. Okay. Cool. Yeah, we're using the same thing.
You know exactly what I'm
Yeah,
talking about.
I do. All right, I'm gonna push mine live. 3, 2, and I got a black screen.
Oh
Doesn't like
no,
it. It's
that's
pretty
what
funny.
happens, right?
It
I
is.
remember one time we were preparing for a Chinese lion dance event, and we had prepared for one layout because for some reason we thought it's the same place. Where we get there is completely different. We had no room. We had like a catwalk, and we had a giant. You know those giant lion heads. You know what I'm talking about? The Chinese lion. You had to carry one,
Yeah.
like get that through the crowd somehow. It was intense. Well, it turned out pretty well. No one knew. Oh, that was a bad one because my friend showed up and he said the lion flew out of his truck and got hit by a truck. I was like,
Oh.
"What?" He's like, "I didn't." He didn't tie it down, and so he saw a box. Like that box looks familiar, and then he saw the lion head flying through the highway, and he got clipped by a car. So
Oh
we
wow.
broke one of our drumsticks. We had a fat drumstick. So we cracked it open, and we electrical taped it to the bar to fix it. Said, and we'll deal with this later. And we never dealt with it later. It stayed like that until the very end. It was funny.
Jeez. All right, I'm good to go on my end. I guess there's just a lag when you're sharing to Skype and to
Oh,
OBS.
okay.
It like after like 30 seconds,
Oh,
it
okay.
kicked in.
Well,
So welcome to my
there you
Twitch
go.
channel.
That's cool. Is that new, Boba Fett?
Yeah, totally.
That's Fett,
Yeah,
right? I'm not a
yeah,
Star Warian.
yeah. This is
Or
Boba Fett. No, yeah, this is Boba Fett, not the Mandalorian. Although he's a Mandalorian, not the
he's a
Mandalorian.
Mandalorian.
Yeah, this is a commission I owed somebody, so I was working
Right.
on this.
I gotta stay in cam. You gotta do it traditional here.
I gotcha.
Oh, so today, I was want to talk to you about Commander David Favreau. Farvo?
Oh yeah, favor, favor.
I can't read my handwriting.
I was looking this up earlier. I think it's favor.
Okay. Um,
I'll tell you real quick. Oh, it's actually kind of it's Fravor, Fravor,
because
so
recently more something happened with the footage. Oh, it got confirmed by the Pentagon.
Yeah, the Pentagon released it
Officially,
officially.
and before it was unofficially released. Like they,
yeah, it was a leak.
Someone, I remember, who was it? Yeah, it was him. He said the question the question should have been asked: how did this get off a hard drive on a ship to this website? Like where what happened here?
Yeah. Something went wrong in that process.
That's hilarious. And so, so that's been recently in the news again, and so that is an incident that happened in like 2014, right?
Yeah, I think so.
Long ago, right?
I think the actual encounter happened further back. Yeah, it happened in 2004.
Okay. And so that's what now? What, 8 years? No, 18 years ago. I'm terrible at math.
18 years ago.
Ruby makes fun of me because I'm terrible at math.
Yeah, I tell people that if you were born in like the 1980s, everything is just 20 years ago. It's like the math doesn't work in your brain.
So yeah, and what he saw was what the footage that got released officially. Did they say what it was? Like, what was the official statement?
The official statement is so they have a new name for them. The official statement it is officially an unidentified aerial phenomenon. So it's a UAP. Because they can't call it a craft because like they basically can't call it anything.
Yeah, because last I heard they said like shipped or craft or like a thing, like a physical thing that you can touch and stuff.
Yes.
Has anything touched it? Like, did it touch something? Do we know it's actually physical?
It's supposedly, well, I don't know that this one, I don't think so. There are other stories of some of them actually being submerged.
Okay, so the water affected, or did it just clip through the water?
The story I heard was that, and I think it was from the same interview. I think it's from that Joe Rogan podcast that he did. And he's talking. I can't remember if it was him or someone else, but he tells a story of them going to like retrieve some kind of buoy, and they basically lost the buoy, and they're pretty sure they lost it to one of these Tic Tacs under the water.
What I remember saying is some guy lost a torpedo.
Maybe that's what it was. Maybe it was a torpedo.
I was just listening to it today, so it's like fresh in the head.
Yeah. Okay, you're probably fresher. Yeah.
Yeah. So it was like it was a torpedo. Like, first off, why is there a torpedo just hanging out? Second off, I guess it happens, right? That's how things work, right?
It does happen.
So they're retrieving our torpedo, and it just took it away, and that's it. They're like, "What happened to the torpedo? Meh, it's gone.
We lost it.
Gone
yeah,
now.
it's just gone.
Oh, shit, I guess it is gone now. Jesus, that's really scary, but I guess it happens. I've been around enough military things to understand. It's like, oh, you're just another business that runs slowly. Gotcha.
Yeah, it's like a very bureaucratic, very old school
takes a while
business.
To get things going. Things are behind a bit. That's fine. Which is quite honest. In their opinion, how they look at it is, you wait to make sure everything is stable before you jump in. Because I've been at places where they move super quickly and it sucked.
They move pretty quick.
Yeah, well,
I mean, all things considered, they move pretty quick.
So what do you think that Tic Tac is?
Oh man, what do I think it is? That's hard. Aliens, extra-dimensional beings.
Because it's tricky. Because if it was another government, we would have known about it by now. After 18 years.
Yeah. and that's something that the Pentagon report that they released officially with the video says is like, it basically said we don't have anything that can do what this object did, and we're like 99% sure that no one else has anything that can do this either.
Because the big deal about it is that it's gravitational, right?
Well, they don't know. They don't know how it works. It seems to defy the laws of physics.
As I understand it, it actually lies within the realm of physics. Like, there's physics that can't explain it, but we just don't know how to do it.
Like, nothing it does is impossible. It's just we can't do it with any kind of propulsion that we have, and without like killing the person flying it. So the idea
is that it's gravity propulsion. Like, there's no, because what we make now are suck and blow engines, if I remember.
Yeah.
And we just get better and better at that. But this is a different type of, and it's an energy, gravitational engine.
Yeah, I would imagine so. I mean, it's gravitational or electromagnetic, like, you know, there's some kind of force at work that, it's definitely not like running on oil and tiny explosions.
So that's what the consensus is, that if this is another government, Terran, it would just change everything. Why wouldn't you really, like, you would just take over the world.
Well, they could, like, they would have already taken over the world with these things. I
was gonna say because of what they can do. So right now it can float in space, it can move around like a ping pong in an imaginary box. That kind of speed.
Oh, that's such a creepy description too.
So like, physically, if you work it a certain way, it works technically speaking, but we don't know how to do it.
Yeah. Like the motion that he was describing when they first saw it, like the ping pong ball in a glass bottle that you can't see, like that seems to me like it would kill a person. You know, like we can't take the G's or like the acceleration forces of instant starts and stops.
Well, then it could be a sort of drone if there's not a person in it, right? Because we do drones.
Yeah, it could be. Oh yeah. Well, and like, you know, my personal opinion that I can't back up with anything but my opinion is that they're all drones.
Oh, like everything.
Like I think they're extraterrestrial, but I also think that they're mechanical. And like I think it, you know, people talk about the singularity and like people merging with machines. Okay. Like I think that's what
Ghost
they are.
Shell kind of thing.
Because how else do you either get across the universe to get to us, or how do you survive the kind of maneuvers and stuff you're doing if you're not, you know, if you're non-biological in the sense that we know, and to me you can go two ways with that, because there's like, okay, they're non-biological, they're like super advanced AI from another planet, like some race made machines and the machines got smart and moved off planet and now they're checking us out. Or you could just be like, what if it's like the freaking, you know, spirit realm DMT creatures that people see, which, you know, those are both like equally interesting to explore.
So that's the big thing. So it can't be human because.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, whatever. I think it's a non-human intelligence for sure.
And this is 2004. Right? Jesus Christ. You were saying.
So 20, so, you know, add 20 years on top of that and we still can't do what these things do. One of the things that I thought was interesting, because like I said, it's been a while since I've seen that episode, but I read a lot of the Declassified Report this past week, and like I'm real interested in like the physicality of these objects, like especially when they get tracked on radar or tracked on like the infrared, like happened in the Nimitz case. And one of my favorite UFO events to talk about is they call it the Belgian wave, and I think it happened in the 80s, and it was basically a series of sightings over Belgium, and everybody saw the same black triangles. And there's a great old Unsolved Mysteries episode about it. And, you know, they like have legit sources, and so there's the thing was tracked by like French F-16s, and they have it on radar. You know, it drops from like 5,000 feet to 50 feet.
Oh, wow.
Doing 6,000 miles an hour.
Whoa.
Which is like, you know, that's like ridiculously low to the ground. You're talking like not even within human tolerances to do like we can't operate at that speed.
There used to be an elevator at AggieCon that they called the teleporter. It was quick, dude. It was like, whoa, that's a little faster than normal elevators.
That's funny. Yeah, but what was cool was, or what stood out was when I read this new report. Evidently, some of the radar returns from the Nimitz sightings, because there were more than one. Like there were a couple. We just have video.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Supposedly, one of these objects was going 26,000 miles an hour.
What does that even mean? What is that? I don't even have a concept of that speed. 26,000 miles per hour.
I'm trying to like Google something that's like more in terms. So let's see. So a bullet is 1,700 miles per hour.
Jesus.
So it was going twice as fast. No, it was going like 11 times as fast as a bullet. So it went from, 1,700 miles per hour to 26,000. So 26 times faster than a bullet.
That's almost like how they do kung fu stunts where they yank somebody after something get punched. Just yoink.
Yeah.
Jesus.
Like you just like nothing like that, and that's where like physics starts to get weird, because you're like, okay, what can even go 26,000 miles?
Something that controls like air and space, right, and time. At that point,
right? You basically are like controlling the laws of physics.
Technically speaking, you can do it if you have a certain material, but as I understand it, as far as what is Bill Burr saying, my deep YouTube research.
Yeah. Well, and like I could like techno babble it into an explanation that like half makes sense, like just based on like sci-fi crap, but like does that work in the real world? Like, I don't know.
What is that phrase? What you call magic is what we call science, or something like that, or inverse it.
Oh, it's Arthur C. Clarke. It's any advanced intelligence will be indistinguishable from magic.
That's what it is.
Yeah, it's magic. It's Thor in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. They're just so advanced that they like, you think they're aliens, but it's like weird, unexplainable science.
Yeah, and so this one that recently got released was the Tic Tac, the little Tic, which is the size of
the Tic Tac.
I think he said like a hornet. I think it's a.
Yeah, I think he said 40 feet.
It's a 40-foot Tic Tac. And they say this has been seen in other places. If you look at descriptions of, say, a cigar, or like an oval, like this.
Yep. Yeah, it seems like a truncated cigar shape. So like round on the edges, but not as long as like the old cigar craft that people like me have seen.
God, yeah. That's still like.
Yeah.
Has thought on that changed at all? What it is or what you saw?
Oh no! Like I mean, I think about it all the time, which is probably weird to say. But it's one of those. I tell people that it's one of those things that you forget that you know.
Oh yeah.
Like I'll be doing something mundane, like walking my dog or something, and like I'll remember having seen it, and it's just like, oh, and I liken it to an expression I heard that I can't remember where it came from, but someone was like, "You asked me if I believe in UFOs, and that's like asking me if I believe in cars. Like, I don't need to believe in them. I've seen it."
Yes, it's right. I saw.
Yeah, which is like, it's just poor choice of words for the most part, but it's that kind of feeling of like, oh, like. It'd be like if you saw Jesus, me as an atheist saying that, it's like suddenly like, oh no, Jesus is very real. I saw
something that is kind of made up, or people talk about being made up, is real.
Something mythical, yeah. I don't want to offend too many people, but for something that like you can't prove and it's based on faith, you're like, oh, I don't have to take that on faith because I have this memory of witnessing
it. Goes back, right, all the way, the sightings.
Yeah, the shapes change.
Has there been anything similar to yours?
Oh yeah, that like description is super super common actually, and that's one that goes back pretty far. The cigar shape, like like it used to be a lot of like pre-American civilization, especially pre-World War II. There were a lot of like ball shapes and cigar shapes. It seems. It's hard to say that there's any kind of like typical kind of sighting, just because like even historical records, there's like all shapes and sizes and all kinds of behaviors, and
it's something.
Some of them are weird and creepy, and some of them could be easily explainable, and then some of them seem more like mass hallucinations.
Yeah, those get really.
Yeah, it gets weird.
It's really funky.
But yeah, the modern like saucer-shaped UFOs didn't actually start until right around the time we were testing the atom bomb.
Oh, I wonder what someone saw. Oh Jesus! I was watching atom bomb stuff too, so that stuff wigs me out. Just I forget what it was. It was talking about the testings, and it was just like Jesus. It was everybody was so close to getting the atom bomb. Like it was super.
Oh
close.
Yeah, like they were like months apart from each other.
Oh my God.
Yeah, so the what they call like the American era of UFO sightings was June 24th, 1947, and that's when Kenneth Arnold was flying his small plane and saw what he described as silver saucers skipping on water, but in the sky. And the media went with flying saucers. Yeah.
If Tic Tacs had existed, he may have said Tic Tacs. Yeah.
He might have. Okay.
This is different words, right? Because you get the story they were talking about on the podcast was the story Fatima, I believe. The kids in Mexico.
Yeah.
And I just remember hearing about them seeing like I believe the sun moved around or something like that.
That's one of those ones that seems like a mass hallucination. Yeah, I'm really familiar with that one too, because it's just so
and
weird.
Like it's because it's about, because I didn't realize that I never thought about it. There's other accounts where people thought it was mechanical. A lot of people, the one I heard was spiritual because it was from school.
But
I didn't realize some people.
Well, it was shrouded in a lot of religious.
For the backstory.
Yeah, totally. Like whatever it was told them that I am I'm like your savior, come to give you a message.
Yeah, that was a weird one. Because I didn't. There's apparently paintings, like old paintings of these weird saucer shapes and things, and weird cubes and stuff like that. It goes all the way back.
It's funny because it's like they're almost like platonic solids a lot of the times. They're cubes, spheres, pyramids, cigars, like elongated, spheres.
What is it, like a beach ball, they said, inside of a sphere?
Oh man, that one that he was talking about. It's funny. I actually, when I heard it, I got this idea to do a piece about it. And so somewhere in my sketchbook, there's a sketch. But yeah, they describe like giant beach balls. So like, I was picturing this thing bigger than an airplane. But yeah, they described it as like a cube in a clear beach ball, and they would come down from space. They'd come down to like, what do you say, like 50,000 feet, and hover for like a few hours, and then just go back up.
That's the other thing too, right? That few hours thing.
Yeah, like they don't care. They just hang out.
Because he said
what are you gonna do?
The planes that he's on, they're doing like what, hour and a half, if they're really going.
Yeah.
And so the speed in which they're going and what they're doing, they should be burning a ton of fuel.
A ton. Yeah.
And so,
but evidently, there's like, I mean, I'm not privy to like the military stuff, but like, it makes you wonder if you can track that, like, can we track the heat from these things? Do they go into space to dissipate the heat?
Right on.
Like, because like all energy creates heat. Like that's pretty much like the one thing you can't mask is like thermal signatures. Yes. There's a really cool video. I don't know if you've seen it. It's actually really similar to the Tic Tac one, but it's from a Department of Homeland Security helicopter. I think it's a Black Hawk, and it's in. I want to say it was in Puerto Rico, but they were out on a training mission, and they got a contact coming in from the ocean, and they were like, well, let's see what this thing is. There's not supposed to be anything there, and you can see it. It's like a little light on the horizon, and they tracked this thing over the island for several minutes. It might have been half an hour, and it behaved a lot like the Tic Tac did. I don't know the size of it. You can't tell from the video because there's no reference. It's like they're filming a thing floating above a city in infrared. I'm gonna see if I can find a screenshot of it real quick.
Is it super hot? You remember?
So so let me finish that before I get sidetracked. So it comes in, and it comes in from the shore over the city. They start tracking it with infrared. At one point, it stops, like dead stop, and then it releases what looks like a cloud of heat.
Huh.
And it's like it starts venting, and then it slowly kind of slides across the sky, and it leaves like a little miniature contrail of heat that you can see on the image. And then super interesting also is they track it, so they keep tracking it, and it goes back out to sea. And as they're tracking it, it leaves being over land, and it's descending as it's going towards the ocean. And and it's also on the video, it moves through the water without slowing down.
Yeah.
Like, at all. Like, completely just like the water's not even there.
That tracks with it making its own gravitational fields, which means air and water don't matter.
Yep.
Because what you can do in the air, you can do in the water. And the story, that the commander got from somebody was that's the torpedo thing. Something almost came up to the surface. Like, he saw something big on the radar, I think. They came up, and he's like, get the guy up. And then the torpedo disappeared. And whatever was down there disappeared with it.
Yep. That's a similar story that Fravor says, too, I think, is that, they're just out training, and they get a ping, and they're like, well, we're here.
Yeah.
Let's go, let's just go see what it is. Like, it can't be anything serious, because there's obviously not, there's no, like, aircraft in the area, because you'd see it, like, it's almost like this thing was already there, and like you said, probably been hovering there for hours.
Yeah, his account said that they went out there, and they were going to go on a training mission. The training mission got canceled because they had a live vector, like something out there. And so I think he said at first they thought it was maybe pirates or drug runners, because where the area.
That's what he says. Yeah, he's like drug runners.
The area where they are, it's like, okay, and then they get there, it's like it's not moving. There's like a disturbance in the water, and it's like, oh, it's a ship, and then it became like, what is that? You know what I mean?
Yeah, and then it becomes apparent, like, oh, that's a weird thing in the water, like jumping around erratically.
I had that experience with a root I had pulled up, like a thorny vine, and because it got big, and so I was hacking away at it, and I thought I hit concrete or a box. I was like, oh no, don't be like a dead animal, right?
Oh,
and then I hit it,
yeah.
and it was kind of white. I'm like, what? And it was hard. Like, what is this? God, don't be a skull. I don't want to find a skull here. We watch a lot of Forensic Files, so it gets creepy. And then I finally get to this. I thought it was a vase. I was like, is that a vase? Did someone drop a vase and grow out of this like a decade ago? And then it's this giant, crazy, naughty root thing. It's give me the heebie-jeebies. And that journey was intense. It's like, what is this? Your mind's trying to comprehend what you're seeing, you know?
Yeah, there's like a moment where your brain glitches, and it's like, okay, wait, this isn't what I expect to see. I have to like spend a little extra processing
It's
power.
nothing I've ever seen before. And for him, it was like, is doing something that is impossible.
Yeah. Yeah, like, and you know, this is the guy that you trust on that kind of stuff, right? I mean, he's the one out there flying these missions.
Just,
you know,
from what I can tell, he's just another pilot. He's just a pilot.
Yeah.
Like, in this case, he's not a conspiracy. He has nothing. He's nothing in the industry. He's not, sold into it, so he doesn't care.
Yeah, like he's not selling a book. He's already
he's
retired.
Just like,
no. He's not trying to make a second career on the like paranormal circuit, which a lot of people do.
It's just like this thing happened, and here's my story. And he has there's evidence of it. I was like, Jesus Christ.
Yeah, it's really compelling. One of the things too that gets lost because like the footage is so compelling, right? Like you kind of just get lost in it. But at the very beginning of that footage, you can hear one of the other guys go, "Look on the scope. There's a whole fleet of them."
Yeah.
Yeah, like in another location.
It sounded like smaller ones hovering around close by to the bigger one.
Yeah. Well, it seems to me like there's two kinds. There's whatever those big, beach balls or cubes in a beach ball. But then there's also like these like fast ones, these like small, quick guys that are, kind of what we have in fighter jets. We got big, slow aircraft carriers, and then we've got, super quick, nimble fighter jets.
It's
like, what does the mission call for?
It's the carrier from StarCraft. Yeah.
There you go.
It's a giant, slow-ass ship that releases like 10,000 little drones. Little drones don't do much.
There have been sightings of that. Yeah, there's oh man, there's great old footage, and I'm talking super old. It's probably from the 80s. There was a series of sightings in Mexico City.
Okay.
There was something going on at the time too. It was like I think maybe like the Olympics were happening or something. Maybe it was a military parade. My memory's not the best on some of this stuff. But yeah, so there's footage from all over the city over the course of a few days. And what it looks like is just spheres in the sky. It just looks like a metal sphere is floating, chilling,
just doing its
hanging
thing.
out. Yeah, and so there's probably a couple dozen like old crappy VHS home movie quality images of these things. But in one of them, a bunch of these things basically line up together and turn into a cigar shape, like a cylinder. They stack on top of each other, and then they ascend.
Huh? Do they meld together?
No, they just stack. Yeah, I was as I was saying that, I was like, I don't want to give the impression that they like shape shifted
because.
But they all stacked on top of each other.
Who's the guy with the commander, Jeremy Cowell?
Oh yeah, I think that's his name.
Because he said he saw some samples of material from crash sites, and the general idea is that they're trying to figure out, because it seems to be 3D printed in some manner.
Yeah, and that's what Bob Lazar says too, is that the consistency and like build of the materials suggests that it's like all one single piece. There's not like there's not seams, there's not rivets. It just everything kind of flows into everything else.
At the time, he said it looked like it was injection molding because it was doing it, but in layers.
Yeah, that's what it was.
But he didn't have the concept of 3D printing. Which is the game changer. It's been 3D printing has gonna be a different thing. Can you imagine? I wonder if that's gonna be a common thing. Like, do I just buy a 3D printer now and I just print wrenches and tools at home?
I think eventually you will. I don't know if you'll necessarily print. I don't think you'll print your tools, but I think you'll print your parts.
Okay.
Because I don't know if you've ever done any like handyman work, but like
starting to now.
You can't have weak tools. Like you'll find out really quick, like why your cheap hammer is cheap.
Yeah.
You know, it's because it's gonna break after you hit some shit. My biggest thing is finding for my car, because I work on my car a lot. I have to have like really legit socket sets.
Right on. Yeah.
Because if the metal's too soft, like the car just eats the socket up.
Yeah.
So I look at it that way. Like you'll have to have high quality tools, but yeah, you'll just like get a 3D print of your part.
That makes a lot of sense because I've starting to look around my house. I call it playing real life Stardew Valley. Because in the game you inherit your grandfather's farm and it's kind of like old and run down, so you have to fix it up. So that's what I've been doing. Did I tell you someone unplugged my internet the other week?
No. Oh wait, yeah, you did. You were having trouble, and you told me later. Yeah.
No, I know, but yeah, because I was in the backyard looking at the power lines and all that stuff, and so yeah, I've been. Now I think about it, I was like, you're right. I need these little parts to do the things around the house I want to do.
Yep.
So I just gotta like, print this hinge so I can hammer it into this door to do this. That makes a lot of sense. But yeah, that's what. So Bob Lazar, what do you think? I've only listened to some of his stuff, not all of it.
I don't like
the migraine stuff is really weird.
Yeah.
Let's be real.
That's what I don't like about Bob Lazar. I'll be honest. It's kind of that. It's like he's very avoidant with certain questions that should be easy to answer.
So it gets kind of tricky. But like he has been right. Has he been like wrong on anything? Like absolutely wrong on something?
He hasn't been wrong, but I can't tell you anything he's been wrong on. But he's also said a bunch of shit that you can never
That's the
prove.
other thing, right? It's like he can only be right.
Like he's made claims, right? And they could be right or wrong. Like we don't know yet because we don't know. Like we don't know if this stuff happened at Area 51. We don't know.
Or is what's it called, Site 4?
Yeah, we don't know about all that stuff. Like it's there's a name for the philosophical argument of a thing you can't prove, but I can't. It escapes me. But it's that. But there's also stuff that you can prove that he hasn't proved. Okay. Like he claims they have gone to MIT. MIT says they have no record of him. There's places he's worked that say, we don't know that dude. And like, it's really easy to be like, oh, well, of course, that's what they want you to think. But it's like, yeah, but MIT doesn't care if you went to school there. Like, they don't have a vested interest in keeping UFOs a secret. If anything, you'd think they would be on the forefront of that kind of publicity.
Okay, so
for those reasons, I don't necessarily believe him. He does tell a compelling story, though, so I see why other people would.
I've only listened to like a quarter of it or half of it. I haven't gone through the whole thing yet. All his stuff.
See, it's so weird to me because, like, I don't mean this to sound like a flex, but like I knew about Bob Lazar back when I was a teenager because he's been telling that story since like the late '80s or early '90s. Yeah, like, and back then I didn't believe him, and I guess I've just kind of carried that over.
It's a crazy story, but it doesn't get very far because of what it is, right?
Yeah, no, oh, totally.
It's too insane. Like, if a story has legs, it'll have legs. It'll walk and it'll keep going. That's why the weird obscure ones don't get very far, or if like a cryptoid is very localized.
Yeah, I had this conversation with some buddies of mine that stream on Twitch. Like we, a lot of times we hop into like a group voice chat, and we were talking about my buddy Sal, who, if you're watching, Sal, what's up? He was working on a Mothman piece for a client, and so we got talking about the Mothman, and then we got talking about Skinwalker Ranch, which is a whole other bag of worms we can go into later. But while talking about Skinwalker Ranch, someone said, you know, I brought up that anytime there's a UFO story, there's always like a part of the UFO story that they don't tell you. And the example I give is from a really old sighting, and you know, I think back in like the 40s or 50s, this dude who lived out in the boonies called up the cops. And reported a UFO sighting, and you know, I think they laughed him off, but eventually, like, a UFO researcher came out to talk to him and was like, "Okay, tell me what's going on. Tell me what you saw." And he says, "Well, you know, I came outside. I look across my field here. There's like there's a spaceship, you know, a flying saucer, appears to have landed in my field. It's shaped like an egg with 3 legs, like, so it's like on stilts. So it's like an egg on stilts with a door that's open, and there's like 2 or 3 little men outside the craft." Actually, I'm gonna take that back. It might have only been one man.
There were beings.
At least one man. There was at least one being outside the craft mucking about. Well, it saw him. He says it saw me. Got in the craft, closed up the door, legs retracted up, and it zoomed off into the trees and disappeared.
The little fucker's like, fuck.
Fuck, he saw me. Yeah. You know, and like in and of itself, that's a pretty, like, especially back then, before, like, you know, stories like that were common, or you could, you know, lift that from a movie. Like, that's a pretty disturbing tale if it's true, right?
It's
like, it's
brand.
weird.
Everything's
it's like
on brand.
it's pretty fucking weird.
Yeah.
It's real fucking weird. So years later, you know, 20, 30 years later, some other UFO investigator comes to talk to him about the sighting, because he's writing a book too, and he wants the story in the book. And he talks to the old man, and the old man tells him the exact same story. And down to, and he said this in the first version too, that there was like a sigil on the door of the egg that looked like hieroglyphic Arabic, which is another rabbit hole you can go down of people who think that UFOs are angelic and demonic. But he was like, well, I didn't want people to think I was crazy, so I left the part out of the story where the egg flew off through the woods. He was like, it didn't fly off through the woods, it flew off through the trees. As in, it didn't move, and it just passed through the trees like they weren't there. And to me, like, those little details are like what really, you know, because up until then, it's a super explainable, like, oh, you might have seen aliens, like, you know, quirky little green men, and then you're like, wait, they went through. Like, how do you phase through a tree? Like, is this fucking Kitty Pryde here? Like, what's going on?
Moving molecules around so you can move through it.
Yep. And like at that point, you're basically manipulating matter. Like,
yeah. And only thing I can think of that does that is faster than light stuff.
Yeah.
But he saw it. That's weird.
Yeah, and thought it was too weird to tell the UFO researcher.
Shit, it's too weird for this motherfucker?
No, they're gonna think I'm crazy. Like, forget about the little green men, you know.
It's like John Mulaney. Say more now. Yeah, that's a weird one. So because all this stuff goes all the way back. It's cave paintings?
Yeah, I mean, there have been.
Does it go all the way back there?
It's hard to interpret. There are Aboriginal tribes that talk about, like, the first creators, and they're what you see painted on a lot. Like there's like a certain style to how they depict the beings. Let's see if I can bring up an image. Yeah, here you go. So these guys, I got them on screen.
Oh yeah.
You know,
Audio's going out. Hang on, Matt. You are cutting out. I don't know what it is. Maybe it's your share screen. Go back to your video. If you can hear me. I'm not even sure you can hear me anymore.
art made recently, but this is the style.
You cut out for a second, and now you're back. Yeah.
Oh no. Yeah, so I was saying this is like the style of being that I think of when you ask about like cave paintings
with other beings. I saw the Japanese one. That looked dope.
Oh man, let me refresh my memory.
You know, a very reliable source of information.
Well, yeah, it's all aliens, don't you know?
I was thinking about it because I was wondering if because I like the ancient civilization idea because it makes a lot of sense to me. Like if we get wiped out, those tribes in the Amazon who haven't had contact yet, they don't know. Like if we get wiped out by this virus and they leave like 100 years later, they'll walk into, what will they run into? They'll run into the Washington Monument. No, not Washington. Yeah, the Washington Monument. Most of Washington D.C. because it's stone and marble.
Statue of Liberty might still be around.
Mount Rushmore.
Oh, you know what'll last the longest out of everything we've built is actually the Hoover Dam.
Oh yeah.
Yep. Yeah, and it'll actually generate power for a very long time. You know, barring some like earthquake that just totally destroys it. But like those turbines are made to just go and go. I think it was one of those like Discovery Channel like end of civilization after people shows was like, oh yeah, they're like, you know, like 5,000 years later, it could theoretically still be running. Yeah, it was like thousands of years. Yeah, so. But yeah, no. If you want something to last, you build it in stone.
Yeah. So any kind of crazy device they could have had, gone. Right? Glass, metal. Someone said a car would disappear in about a couple hundred years.
Yeah, a car's a couple hundred.
So we're talking like a million years. That's a lot.
Yeah. It's a lot. Like not a lot's going to survive. And even at those time scales, even like stone breaks down because of like erosion and.
I see what the in some places they said there's gigantic stone statues. I don't buy it. I think it's just us looking at them like that looks like a face. Yeah, it does, but
Oh, like the really big ones, like the monolith size stuff.
South America, or maybe in Mexico. I was like, Yeah,
a little wishful thinking.
I don't know, but there's a chance.
There's plenty of obelisks and stuff we can't explain already. You know, there's like the Maori on Easter Island, like
they have bodies.
Yeah, like who'd have thunk it? I know when we were kids that like we didn't, you know, we had no idea that stuff existed. I remember there were video games with Maori heads in them.
Everything someone has taught us about how cities were formed, civilizations have formed. Like we have to revisit, to be quite honest. Like dinosaurs are lizards, now they're chickens. In that alone, we have like, all right, we have to revisit everything.
Yeah,
math and science always seems to work out because a lot of the ancient.
That's the thing about science. You never know if you never know if you're right or not. You basically just have like your best guess at that moment.
Especially what we're doing. We're playing around with like chemicals and finding cures and fighting things with physics.
I'm going to tell you, it's difficult to make art and hold a conversation at the same time.
It gets tricky.
Yeah, it's totally tricky. I'm not used to it. I was like, I sound like I'm baked out of my mind, but I'm just distracted because I'm trying to do two things
I do
at
this
once.
in meetings.
Yeah, you sketch a lot, don't
sketch
you?
in meetings, especially at my old place. As they're talking, I'm kind of thumbnailing.
Oh yeah, I do that too. Yeah, you're just like your brain's already working. You might as well get it on paper.
Because I can guarantee motherfucking you, my napkin sketch is way better than anybody else's in the office. Like, let's be real here. There's no surprises. Some people can draw. I wish they drew more, but I'm trained to a degree. So yeah, because I'd found the Ancient Alien TV show, so I've been watching that thing because it's fun to like dive down into.
Oh yeah, it's shit.
Some of it I just sit there like, all right, bro, which is fine. Just give me everything.
Remember when that show came out? I was so into that concept and that idea.
It makes a lot of sense. We see evidence of it, I feel.
Oh yeah. Like I buy into it as much as I can. Meaning, like, there's no it's again, it's one of those things that you're never going to be able to prove one way or the other unless they like come down and show us a video of them helping us build the pyramids, kind of shit.
Unless TMZ gets an exclusive, right?
Yeah, exactly. But no, I totally think there's something to that. I also think that there's a lot to be. I think having trouble forming this thought. There's a guy who's also been on Joe Rogan. I'm pretty sure he's a geologist, but he talks about a cataclysm in the Americas. And so I think right now his prevailing theory is that this event that a lot of people talk about that happened like 13,000 years ago was actually a comet or a meteor hitting North America. And basically wiping out whatever was here, which to me also makes sense in that grander story of like, how come there's this whole continent where like nothing technological exists?
Yep.
American Indians were basically, still, I don't know if you'd call it the Stone Age, but comparatively to the rest of the world,
parts
like
of it nomadic, parts of it were agriculture. I felt that they were a little further on than what supposed early man was. You know what I mean? Early culture, because there were still, I believe, some were kind of nomadic still. But some were already like starting communities and things like that.
They were in this. It seems like they were in this weird in between phase that like the rest of the world went through.
Kinda, yeah.
Like 1,000 years ago. Yeah, and I've always kind of bought into the idea that like there was probably something here before even the Native Americans got here.
It was he's a journalist or an author, Graham Hancock, and he talks about.
Yeah, he's one of the ones that talks about it. There's another guy that talks about it too.
So the idea is that there was a big civilization in North America. It hit. It catastrophic, wiped out. Climate change, everything changed up, and that's why a lot of old civilizations are stargazers, because they're waiting for the next impact.
Yeah, because there's like a story there of like you have to be prepared for this event that may come. Yeah, I wish I could remember the guy's name. He was also on the Joe Rogan podcast, which shows like how dude bro I am that I bring all this stuff up from that. But he also talks about there's a lot of ancient symbolism shared by different groups, tribes, and societies on different parts of the planet about what he interprets as like some kind of massive cosmic event. maybe a pole shift, maybe like a nearby. I think they said like a nearby supernova,
Okay.
maybe too. But like he tells this twisty, windy story about how basically whatever this cosmic event is, the way it interacts with the magnetic field of the Earth makes it look like there's a big glowing man in the sky.
Oh.
Like it's these like symmetrical concentric loops that a lot of cultures end up drawing, and they end up drawing them kind of in the shape of a man, where it's like, you know, each loop is a limb with like a loop up top for the head.
Makes sense.
And I'm pretty sure he's done modeling on this thing, and he's like, yeah, we've modeled it, and you could absolutely get, you know, this kind of phenomenon with this shape and this like look from this kind of cosmic event happening.
That makes sense, right? The big.
Yeah, and if it was a pole shift, you know, it would obviously cause havoc on anything electrical, you know, magnetic. You know, it fucks with the magnetic field of the Earth. It lets in more radiation.
The big being in the sky got angry.
He's angry. He's super angry.
Interesting.
Yeah.
It all correlates, right? It all makes sense. It's the things that we can't explain. Imagine, like, what's that? Like, imagine tiny, even like back in the day, like tiny monkey brains. Like, seeing something like that, how do you explain it? It becomes this crazy monster.
Yeah, like you don't even know where to explain it. I had a thought earlier while you were watching the Fravor video. I was watching the one he just did with Elon Musk that came out today, because I wanted to be up on it. It was weird. I mean, Elon Musk is just kind of weird.
Now,
I enjoyed it.
How do you follow up the last one? You know what I mean? Like the first one.
Yeah, it's hard to. I mean, he like smoked a blunt on the last one, so that's hard to top.
There's probably expectation, especially now with what happened to Tesla. You know what I mean? Like, you're gonna hop on a podcast at the time, like a live podcast, in-person podcast. Oh my god.
He seemed super chill until they brought up the coronavirus stay-at-home orders. And then he got very like you could tell he's pretty passionate about that topic.
It's a rights issue,
which is fair
for some people.
It is for sure.
I
don't agree,
is a rights
but
issue.
you know,
what are the rights? Like, what is? How is it defined? We just gotta reinterpret things. America hadn't had one of these.
It's true, where it's all new territory, and we I don't know. I have very left-leaning opinions about it. I don't know if you want to get into it.
Now we'll do it another time.
Yeah,
that's a whole other thing, man.
Yep, that's a whole other conspiracy theory we could talk about. Like,
that's crazy.
Yeah, like I don't buy into it as a conspiracy. Like, I just try to think of it as like, what's the least amount I can do to help the most. And it seems to be like, stay inside, just chill. I'm a hermit anyway.
If I look like a dumbass with a mask, is that the end of it? Then fine, I'm okay with it.
Yeah, I'm not. Yeah, I saw somebody tweet up some personality, and they were like, wearing a mask isn't a sign of respect; it's a sign of your submission.
Jesus. I was like, all right, I'm just listening to doctors.
It's like, why do you gotta be such an asshole? Just
do you get out of beef for your alien stuff? Not really.
No, not really.
A lot of people buy in now, right?
Like I'm. Oh yeah, dude. I think most people get it.
Because there are things that we can't explain.
The most I ever get.
Sightings and paintings and stories that you're like, well, if you explain it this way, but if you use this science, it makes sense too.
Yes. Like it's well, most of it is explainable by like the scientific method to some point. I don't know. I have thoughts about the whole thing because it's like the most I get, to answer your question, the most pushback I ever get because I go in pretty bold if I'm having a conversation with people. They're just like, "Hey, do you believe in aliens?" And my answer is usually like, "I don't need to believe in them. I've seen them."
Yes.
And the inevitable follow-up question is always, "Wait, did you see like actual aliens, or did you see like a thing in the sky?" And then I explain that like, no, I've never seen actual aliens. I've seen several weird things in the sky that I am convinced are not human, not piloted by humans. I could be wrong, but that's the impression that I got. And it usually goes from there. People are pretty respectful
Is
about
that
it.
experience you had? Like,
Oh,
well, that's
and which
what I'm
one?
saying. They can't argue the experience you had. You know what I mean? This is your experience.
Oh yeah, yeah. And they always ask, "Well, what did you see?" And I tell them, and it's usually like, "Oh yeah, that totally sounds like a UFO. It's probably aliens. They're probably real." Like most people, I think most people's answer nowadays is, "Well, yeah, statistically, of course, there's aliens." So
Do you think they're
could
hiding
be.
at the bottom of the ocean?
Yes.
Is that where our Cthulhu stories come from?
No, I think that just comes from a overwhelming fear of shit we
Giant
can't
squid.
see. Dude, I'm not gonna lie to you. I went, I'm not a traveler, but I went to the beach for
How
the
was
first
that? What
time.
was that like?
A few years back. Oh, it was
Where'd
great.
you go?
I loved it. I didn't. I just
Where's
went to
that
Port
at?
Aransas. Excuse me.
Okay.
It's on the Gulf Coast. It's like kinda. It's like north of Corpus
Okay.
Christi. Yeah. Um, and we went before the hurricane hit a couple years back. Evidently, Port
Oh,
Aransas
okay.
got hit really hard. I haven't been back, but no, that was it was a fun experience. Like I didn't think I would love the ocean as much as I ended up
Was the fear
liking it.
still
Like,
there?
well, that's what I was gonna say. Is like it's great, right? Like you're on the beach and everything's cool and like things are awesome. I had the dogs with me, and like I'm super careful anyway, because I've never
Oh,
been in
right
the
on.
ocean before. I don't want to fucking drown,
Yeah, you're just
right? Like
careful with
I
it.
like I'm just very aware that this is my first time in the ocean and I should respect it. So I'm super careful. Don't go out too far. I pretty much stay on like the sandbars that you can hit. And then that was like, I think that was day one, or day two actually, because we got there late. And then day one was like intro to the beach, blah 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 blah. And then day two was okay. Now we're gonna go to the public beach where like all the
Oh.
people are, and we're gonna get that experience, right? So we go there and we go out and it's fun and it's great. And we're kind of far out, but we're still like on the sandbars. You can still feel like if you dunk your head,
Okay.
you can feel the bottom. Uh, and there is like a flock of, I guess,
Okay.
seagulls. Um, these big ass birds out there hunting fish. And I catch like glimpse of like a couple feathers in the water that they've shed, and I was like, oh, in my brain, I'm thinking that's the perfect souvenir. Go get these
Oh, there
big
you
giant bird feathers, and that'll be like what I'll take that back, and that'll be my souvenir of my beach trip. Well, they're pretty far. It was
Oh.
probably like, I mean, it was far at the time. It was probably like 20, 30 yards. So I swim out and and there's like a dozen of them floating on the water like the birds. And so I'm going towards them and they're looking at me like, what the fuck is this human doing? And eventually they all fly off and I grab one of their feathers and I turn around to swim back. And at that exact moment it hit me
Oh,
how far
yeah.
out I was and that I couldn't see my feet.
Oh no.
Like, and I got like fucking terrified, like, not like super terrified, but just like a wave of like anxiety hit me. And I
Yeah.
was like, get back to shore, swim back
Because
to shore,
they
you're
look
fine.
stationary,
Um,
but they're not stationary.
yeah, but
Chasing
they're
you.
not.
Oh my
Yeah.
god.
That's one of those moments when you realize like the ocean is big and there are big things in it. And I'm really small.
That's fun. Yeah, I went to the beach as a kid. I had no respect. It was awesome.
That's fine.
I remember seeing like weird things, like fish swimming by. I remember being by and I saw a fish swim by me. I was like, oh shit. It's like, oh yeah, fishes are here, and I didn't see it coming. God damn it. It went right by me. Especially down there
That's
in like the
funny.
Gulf. I remember going to the beach in California and being
Yeah.
perplexed by the sand and the water. I was like, oh, this is different. And the one in Maine was super cold. I didn't get in the water there, but it was like a boardwalky kind of thing.
Oh yeah.
Everyone's like, get in the water. I was like, the level of enthusiasm in which you told me to get in the water tells me that you are fucking with me. So, no.
I'm not gonna fall for it.
I didn't really swim then anyways. I don't think I even brought swim shorts, so. Yeah.
Oh wow. Well, at least you were like, you had the right attitude.
I was like, nope. But yeah, I can imagine that's what seeing these things are like. You're confronted with something that's way more immense than what you're used to.
Yeah, that was I had a weird like existential reaction to one of the things I saw, just because it defied the laws of physics. You're like, how your brain does that thing, right? Where you're like, I'm seeing it, but I don't understand how I'm seeing it.
Because I'm fucking looking at it. But past that, I don't get what the fuck is going on.
Have you ever seen anything weird? You ever had a paranormal experience of any kind?
I've seen weird lights, but car, highway, reflection kind of thing. So it was just a quick light that moved funny. But I was laying down in the back seat of my car, or I guess it's the van, and we're driving. I want to say somewhere yellow, so it's probably a city. But I was seeing very similar shapes before that because we're driving. It was like nighttime, and so you get that weird light reflection. Then the car drives by, or we drive by our car. It didn't like trigger anything weird. I was like, oh, that's weird. I was like, I wonder how that worked, and then on the next thing. I was like, was that a thing I saw? Like, I remember actively thinking, was that a thing I saw? I was like, no, didn't feel it. So maybe it was, I just didn't even realize. I remember telling my buddy, because he was going to Vegas for a work trip. I was like, just look around you and just pay attention to what people are doing. And then he came back like, dude, there's so much crime going on. I was like, yeah, bro. Out in the open. Like, no one, like, there's so much going on. And no one, you're just not paying attention.
Like, what kind of crime? Like petty crime or
like
what?
Trafficking and drug deals. Like, they're everywhere.
Wow, okay. Oh, yeah. Well, dude, it's like that down here where I live. Like, I saw a lady get her stash out from beside a abandoned house walking my dog the other day. I know. I was like, lady, like, wait for me to pass. Come on. You gotta pretend you see me.
Can you just pretend for half a second? I guess not then. Alrighty. But yeah, especially in like places like Vegas, we always go around busy times. When I went and I came back, I went for work, and it was after the Mayweather-Pacquiao fight. So that crowd was still hanging out, and holy shit, the whole place like stunk like marijuana. Like people were just smoking in the streets, and yeah, it was. And people were just hanging out, and people were talking like, "Oh, I'm just gonna spend another week here." Like, how do you? What kind of work are you into?
How do you afford that?
You're in Vegas.
Right?
I know you're in Vegas. You don't live here. You're visiting, and you're staying at one of these places. And I know it costs some money. It's not free. It's not the most expensive, depending on where you stay, but it's not free. And you're just like, I'm just gonna stay for another week. Like, right on. Yeah, for
Suspect.
real. What are you working on?
I ended up working on this concept I had from one of my quarantine dreams. Because evidently those are pretty common. I'm not the only one.
My stepson had a dream. He said a stress dream about the upcoming election. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
He's politically minded, so it's like, oh, that sucks. It's like
Yeah. I don't have I'm politically minded, but I never really dream about
he's really into
that
it.
stuff.
For a kid who's like 15, he's really into it. I gotta keep up with him, to be quite honest.
Not a bad thing to be into.
It's
maybe he'll end up being a politician and like doing some good.
At the very least, he understands it. You know what I mean? I've always been ignorant to it, especially living in Texas. Yeah.
Really?
It's like, I'm in Texas. It's gonna swing this way. I'll just have
like
to.
It doesn't matter. It's all red. Yeah, not necessarily. We're real close to being a swing state.
Goddamn Californians.
Yep. One good thing they brought with them. Some liberal sensibilities. Yeah, it's weird being a liberal in Texas, especially like being like a straight white liberal.
Well, you're in Dallas now, so not so bad.
Well, yeah, it's true. I'm in the filthy, progressive city.
Oh my god.
But yeah, I'm drawing a quarantine dream, and so I don't know if you could see the rough, but it was like this kind of vibe.
Oh, okay.
So what I describe it as is an orange sun boiling in a black sea, and the sea is like tarry.
Huh.
Like it's thick, and like for whatever reason in my dream, this was the end of all space and time.
Oh, right on.
Yeah, and I was like, oh, that was weird.
Like the end as in
Just woke up.
time-wise, or in like the edge? Or what's the end of time supposed to look like? Do you know? Okay.
Both. It's like it's one of those, that weird dream logic where like I didn't think to question what it was, but I got like thinking about it now. It's like I see it as like like kind of both. It's like the edge and the
Have
end.
you read Hitchhiker Guide to the Galaxy?
I haven't read it. No.
There's a concept of the restaurant at the end of the universe. Yeah, and the dinner show is the end of the universe. Yeah, so that's like
cool.
About to fizzle out. Yeah, and I this weird time thing. It's a weird book. The audiobook is pretty good, and the radio play is pretty good. Those are fun.
I seem to have entered a mode where I can't draw. Oh no. It's alright, this happens sometimes. It's like a layer off, or I won't be on the right window or something. Or I'll be in quick mask mode, which is a fucking pain.
Yeah, and sometimes I get into a masking mode, and then inside of the quick mask mode, it fucks with me. I'm like, God damn it.
Yeah, all of that bullshit. My eraser works. I just don't know why.
Your brush doesn't work? Are you on brush?
Yeah. Oh, I know what it is. Yeah, I got it. I was on the wrong layer. I needed to be on the top layer, and I wasn't. So that's on me.
OBS has been weird for me too.
But yeah,
stuff. Yeah, the layers. I keep being on the wrong layer.
Oh yeah. I thought that was a cool idea once I understood how it worked. I was like, oh, they're just stacking stuff like in Photoshop. So,
is that a class?
There's it was outside my my window here. Yeah. Hold on a sec.
Man, I do not want to be part of a crazy crime video. God damn it.
Well, thankfully you can only see my screen, so... Yeah, I don't know what it was. It sounded like a bottle breaking.
Friday night, right? Or Saturday morning.
Yeah, exactly. It's midnight, whatever. But yeah, this...
I was going to ask, has the traffic been down there been crazy? That's good.
No, not really. It's actually gotten a lot better. I mean, not better. We've slowly gotten more traffic. Like it kind of died down when everybody went on
Yeah, I would
lockdown.
imagine.
Like it was pretty noticeable. But now it's I mean, it's not back to normal, but it's damn close.
Yeah, that's gonna happen.
Yeah, we're gonna open up. Hopefully, a bunch of people don't get sick.
Unfortunately, I think people will get sick. It's just honestly
Yeah, I do
now
too,
it's too
but-
late. It's that
Yeah.
whatever that second wave shape's gonna be, it's gonna be that. Okay.
It just sucks because we didn't
Yeah.
peak, so we don't know what our actual peak is going to be yet, and now we're about to add to it.
So we'll see. Maybe if it turns out to be a-okay, I'd be totally fine with it. Sorry.
Oh yeah, I know. I'm hoping for the best. It just worries me. Old and starting to worry about stuff. So what else? What other like? What else stuck with you from that interview with Commander Fravor?
The fact that his wingman, I believe the female on the other ship or the other plane, she was pissed that they didn't tell him. Which sounds so like the government.
So I'd want to see that stuff, like how often.
It reminds. No, here's the thing. Being angry. I remember walking into a Kinko's and seeing the clerk kind of look at me funny, and then look at the bay of computers kind of funny, and I was like, "That's weird." And so I went to the computer to go print something, and then I realized there's another lady in the space, and she's talking. I was like, "Oh, she's on the phone." Then I realized she's talking to herself very frantically. Like it is not a very good. It's not a good talk. And she's not on a computer. She's not on anything. She's just back there, kind of freaking out. And I get my. That's when I get my stuff. I was on my way out anyways. I was like, "What?" And I leaving. As I was leaving, the cops showed up. And I was like,
"Oh shit!"
That fucking clerk didn't say a goddamn thing to me.
Yeah, she totally should have said something.
If you're calling the cops on a situation and then a customer walks in, you gotta tell the customer, "Yo, we called the cops. You can't be here right now." I was so mad. So that's what I keep imagining.
I would have been too.
In her mind, she's going on a training mission, and then you're gonna go live a live vector on something. And then they said, "We've been seeing this for the last couple weeks." And they didn't even plan. It sounded like they didn't even plan on looking at them, because the only reason they were going to check them out because they showed up while they had planes up. And so I was like, "Oh yeah, while you're up, you know what? Cancel that training thing. Y'all are good. Go look at this stuff."
You're breaking up a little bit on your audio.
Is it better now?
Oh no.
Okay.
A little bit. It's just a little. It's a little digital. I don't know if it's on my end or.
It's the NSA tapping in.
Yeah. We're both probably maxing out our internet and CPUs at the moment. Actually, no. I'm only at 16%.
Everybody's all listening, right? So Koch brothers, Uranium, Pressure Cooker,
right?
Because XQ Score should pick up all of this.
Put some money in my account while you're at it. You rich guys could use it. It'll keep me quiet for longer.
That's how they fund their Black Ops. They take money from you. But yeah, it's how magical.
Yeah, so my
is.
Oh,
it's because they've been seeing them. Those
how
ships.
What? Oh yeah, I mean, I think most pilots understand that there's stuff out there that is weird. And then the chance to see it, like I got the impression from him that he was like I don't mean this in a bad way at all, but it almost struck me as like a gearhead getting to see the holy grail of cars.
Pilots got to be a little crazy. You're flying around at Mach whatever in a couple tens of millions of dollars of machine at your whim, right? And it's just a rocket. You're just riding a rocket. Jesus Christ. Yeah, they're always fascinated. It sounds like those guys are always fascinated by that kind of stuff. Yeah.
I mean, I would be totally.
Especially because they understand the physics of what they're flying, and then what they're seeing is like, that doesn't make any sense. And what else? Oh, I want to see the comics. Did you remember this part? So apparently on the ship, there's like a newsletter that floats around.
Oh, yeah.
Or a comic that floats around. And so they knew. He's like, I knew coming back because everybody's gonna know he saw a UFO, like aliens, and it's gonna spread around the ship. He's like, if you do something like this, you're gonna have a comic written about you. I was like, oh, I wanna. First off, there's a newsletter, which is amazing. Secondly, there's a comic strip already.
Oh, yeah.
There's drawings involved. So someone on the ship there's always a soldier that draws.
Yep. I was almost that soldier.
And then
yeah.
There's ones about him. So I want to see these things. Or get one. That sounds hilarious. So that.
Yeah, that does sound hilarious. That'd be cool to add to my my weird collection of my collection of weird magazines and stuff. I've got one about controlling the weather from like the 1940s.
Yeah, there's always been kind of stuff about this wacky shit.
Yep. Yeah, it's super wacky.
And aliens Spaceman has been a thing for ever, right? For the most part.
Yeah, I think so.
We have.
It's hard. Like, it's hard to tell. You can only go so far back before you're guessing.
Like ancient ruins and hieroglyphs and crystal skulls and all that craziness.
I like your Tic Tacs in the sky there.
I got the main one, the little ones, and the beach ball one. Against an old ship. Because there's accounts, right, of Columbus era kind of stuff. You know?
Oh yeah. There are lots of like lights in the water kind of stuff.
I had a feel like for a while it sounded like they were scanning. You know what I mean?
Yeah, personally, I think a lot of what they do is just like they're observing. I mean, why else would you have a giant beach ball hang out over the ocean for hours and hours?
So it sounds like whatever it is, they've been here for quite a while. Nothing's fancy.
Yeah, I think so.
Right? There's no rims or spinners on these things. Basic shapes.
No, they just have state of the art like cloaking technology that you can only see on infrared. No big deal.
Yeah, but everything we've seen is nothing. Because look at our cars. If someone looked at a spaceship like all our cars, it gets stupid, right?
Yeah, like a Tesla compared to like my my old
or the
Corolla.
new Tesla truck, right? Like, yeah,
Cybertruck.
And then you look at some of the concept stuff, it gets really weird. Like, there's a lot of artistic interpretation and going on in that kind of field, but everything we've seen from them is just pretty rudimentary and straightforward, right? Nothing's balls, shapes,
well, I mean,
spheres. Okay.
I'd say I agree with that because for two reasons. One, what do you judge it against?
Everything I've heard is always some sort of very basic geometric shape.
Oh no, dude! There's all kinds of crazy shit if you go digging for it. Yeah, there's some weird stuff. I mean, like the sighting, like we were talking about the sighting of Fatima or Fatima or whatever. Like they described that as like the sun coming down from the sky and swooping over people and being so warm that it like dried their clothes. I always
thought that was very spherical, like a sun. That because I remember for some reason I remember watching a cartoon about this. That's probably where I get the imagery from.
Weird. Probably. Well, when you get some free time, Google a UFO called a tumbler. Like it tumbles. It's a tumbler. I've actually had an experience with one of these things. I saw one time out in the country in the middle of the daytime, and the one I saw, at least, at a glance, it looks like balloons. Like, you know how someone like imagine someone has like a dozen black balloons, right? And they release those, and like that kind of weird like it's not one single shape.
Yeah.
But if you look close enough, you can kind of like, you're like, okay, that's some balloons. But like when you just glance at it, it's weird. I saw something like that, and it was like dark gray. Well, I wouldn't even say it was dark gray. It almost looked like it was metallic, because it would. Some parts of it looked dark, and some parts of it looked like bright white, like shiny. But have you ever seen the movie Annihilation?
No.
Okay, that's not going to help then. You ever seen an example of a tesseract?
Yeah.
Like, it's like the two boxes that move in and out of each other.
Oh, okay.
It looked like that. It looked like a three-dimensional shape that was morphing as it moved across the sky.
Okay.
I forget what they're called. There's a name for what they're called. Look it up. Let me see. What's it called?
So when was this?
This was, I want to say, around 2008.
Okay.
No, maybe a little later. Let me think. Probably earlier than that, honestly. Probably. I don't remember. I'm gonna say 2008-ish. But it was when I lived at my parents' old place out in Princeton.
Oh yeah, Princeton. Yeah, that's the nice thing about being out there. You see a lot more sky.
A lot, yeah. And there's not a lot in it either. There's not a lot of air traffic. I live by a lake, so not much going on.
You fucking get helicopters all the goddamn time. Yeah.
Oh wow, that's
part of it is we're not too far away from Bell Helicopter. I remember speaking to somebody, and they said were like partaking in like a PR movement, because and like planting trees and trying to help with the noise, because certain flight path that whoever mandates to them goes through neighborhoods, and so it's like, well, if we want to, if we want to test our helicopters, we have to do it at these times. You gotta do it at night. Can't just do it during the day. So they can't really dictate when they can do it because of conditions. So they had to their PR department had to work on stuff for that. Yeah. Did you know there's apparently a coworker said that they have COVID PR positions opening up? Government facilities. I have to go look and see where he was finding them, but it makes sense.
Yeah, I believe it. They need people to.
They do.
They need bodies.
I saw that presentation on X-Keyscore from the NSA, and that was a piece of dog shit. Like, let's be real.
It's bad.
Y'all need.
Not a lot of artists working at places like that, unfortunately.
Man, you want to recruit some people? You can't look like that. That don't work.
Yeah, it's like when the Pentagon had to lower their standards a bit and start letting people who smoke weed into cybersecurity. They're basically like, we need hackers, and all the hackers are like, we all smoke, and you won't hire us. So
that's a whole other issue. Like, should this be illegal to begin with? Let's research this. How shady was this law to begin with? pretty shady. Yeah.
Pretty shady.
We can look back at it now and go, yeah, that was messed up.
Yeah, it just seems no one wants to fix it.
It's hard.
It's like, we all know it's messed up. We all know that, marijuana's not the boogeyman it was made out to be. It's not any different than, I mean, God, it's better for you. It's not as bad as cigarettes. And you could, you just treat it like alcohol and let adults be adults.
The problem is like, I remember someone said getting rid of a law is really, really, really difficult.
Yep. It basically requires an executive order because they have to deschedule it.
And being part of like different companies I've been in, I see it and go, oh yeah, it's just kind of a poorly run business. It's just slow. And you can't just take this thing out immediately because you have all these things depending on it, and it's gonna shift a bunch of shit. So you're gonna have the older staff members fight against any change because they're very used to the current system that we're using. But if I try to implement this new project management software, there's a shit ton of fighting. Like, they don't want to do it.
Yeah. Everybody takes offense. No one wants to do it. Yeah, people are afraid of change.
Once you tie that into millions of dollars, like, I think that's why, like, certain companies now, you look how they're acting, they're panicking because they can't shift as quickly as they should, or they can. So who knows?
Yeah, I don't think they can. I mean, some can. Some, it just depends. The government's going to have trouble just because, they're a very slow-moving ship.
I was gonna ask. Speaking of so, how much does the government know? As much as we do.
Okay, that's
right.
That's interesting.
For the most part, like,
I think so. I had this
more, but they don't have their TikTok on. Like, they can't just Snapchat the aliens. Go, yo, can you give me some of that 5G?
Yeah, okay. I don't think so. I know I have my own opinion. Like, again, it's just kind of, it's actually based on one of the guys, and I don't want to pimp it too hard because I don't like the guy who organized it, but is the Disclosure Project, which is run by a kind of shady dude that I also have opinions about. But they legit got a bunch of older like Air Force and military personnel to all hold a press conference and tell their stories, right? And it's everything from, hey, I worked in the nuclear energy department and we saw UFOs one night over the base, to, oh no, I've seen aliens because I've been to the crash sites and like cleaned up the debris.
The whole range.
It's that and everything in between. And based on what they said, my belief is that the government, specifically the Navy office, I think it's the Office of Naval Intelligence, or it used to be, and probably the Air Force. They know that UFOs exist. They know that they're a real, thing. They have no idea what it is, and so they try not to make a big deal out of it. Because you basically would have to tell the American people and the world that there are aliens here, they have super advanced aircraft, and if they wanted to attack us, we have no defense. And you can't say that.
If were armed with a weapon, those Tic Tacs.
They are armed. Well,
if they had like something and they wanted to cause harm, there's not much we can do about it.
Pretty much nothing we could do about it. That's kind of the impression I got from just like reading stuff.
Just looking at Pacific Rim, if a giant kaiju showed up, it would take a lot of planes, and it'll take a while to take care of it. If something landed in like Florida, there's only so many bases nearby, and it's gonna crush it, and then you have to hit it again with more, and who knows where those guys are? They're probably a day away,
Yep. I mean, imagine Independence Day, but the ships can move, as fast as they want to.
There's nothing.
Which, and but also because of that, I don't think they're a threat at all. Because if they were,
if they wanted our resources, they are doing a poor job of collecting them.
Yeah, exactly. Well, in that group chat I was in, somebody brought up a really good point too. Also referencing the movie Annihilation that you haven't seen, but it's basic. Spoiler. It's basically about like an alien intelligence at the heart of it. And so you get to the end of the story, and Natalie Portman's character has survived, and they're like, "What was it?" She's like, "I don't know." Well, can you describe its form? No, because it was this morphing, geometric hallucination kind of thing, and that's a poor way to describe it even. And they're like, "Do you know what it wants?" And her reply is, "I don't even know if it wants." And like, I have that kind of impression of whatever quote unquote aliens are. Like, I don't think I don't think they're concerned with the same stuff we are.
Yeah, because I remember the Rogan, what he says is, it's like watching a bunch of ants do their thing.
Yeah. Like, how do you communicate with a bunch of ants? Do you even communicate? Like, do you care? Do you have any kind of shared language that you can even,
whenever
attempt
we get
to start
into
from?
their space is when, right? Because whenever an ant is in my kitchen, I take care of it. But if I see an ant in my yard, well, I still take care of it.
Yeah, exactly. Like,
if he's on the street, I don't care about,
I think there's probably a similar
I can
kind of
that.
vibe going on. But, that's a lot of assumptions too. Like, it could.
What it does and what it can do, if it wanted to take over, whoever owns it, they could.
Oh yeah, like if that was a government or an entity, a corporation, like, yeah, they can basically outfly the entire U.S. military. So
what are you doing? What are you waiting for? Okay.
Yeah. And I think the answer is that like, they're not. Like, I think they're just kind of watching us. I try to be careful about falling into the trap of like romanticizing humans as being special.
Okay.
Like, in the grander scheme of things, like, I don't think there's anything particularly special about like humans and Earth. Like, I'm sure there's life on tons of other planets. I don't know. Maybe we're weird. Maybe there is something quote unquote special. Maybe they just got freaked out when we started blowing up nukes in the desert. To your theory, maybe they help make us, and they're just kind of like keeping track, seeing how we're doing.
It's their version of the Ring doorbell or the nanny cam.
Yeah, exactly. You get the shitty shift, and you got to go to Earth for a couple years and document and study our dumbasses, report back, and then you get to go go see the fun planet, in some other part of the galaxy.
Yeah, because the tech involved is completely insane. Because the best thing we do have now are what, those Tesla rockets, right? Because they do the vertical landing. Is a reusable rocket?
Yep. Yeah, that's like our best. It's like the tippy top for us, which isn't really
does that mean you don't dig a lot into the government DMT aliens? Okay.
No, not really. I don't know.
Because it would make sense if someone had that tech, it would be game over. But they're supposedly we're still in kind of an alien Cold War. We can't outright war with it because they'll decimate each other.
Yeah, no, I don't buy in any of that. I used to kind of entertain it, and I don't know, maybe it's just me being jaded, but
in my head, it is the funnest Wildstorm comic ever.
Oh God, yeah, It's a great story. I think that's probably why I don't believe it. I'm just like, it's so good. There's no way.
It's Wildstorm essentially. Got these
pretty much
possessing aliens. If I remember correctly, Wildstorm was a weird one. The early Image launch was a weird one.
I like that first series a lot.
That was some fun stuff. I don't know what I'm doing. I guess it works.
I was about to look at your screen and see what you're
I
doing.
guess it works.
Shout out to Froyo Master in your chat. I don't know. I think that chat's old.
Yeah.
If you're still watching Froyo Master, what else?
I have a hard time. I need more screens, but unfortunately, I am out of ports on my machine. Yeah.
No! Do you have one monitor or two?
I have my main monitor and the Cintiq. I have
That's
weird
what I'm working
ports.
with.
Well, the problem is the Cintiq is like, I needed 2 converters that ate up 2 USB ports.
Yeah. Oh, I gotcha. Yep.
And that's it, because the other ports are like FireWire, I believe. Yeah.
You're on a Mac, right?
Mac Tower.
Yeah.
So I was like, oh
That's
yeah,
why.
you got these weird. I gotta convert this to that. God damn it.
Surely they make some kind of adapter.
Well, I'm just riding this thing until it goes, because I can't even update the OS anymore. It's like, alright, I'm gonna ride this thing until it goes. I don't do a lot of heavy lifting with it. The video works. That's why I don't do a lot of video work. Well, part of that, and I just don't know it very well. That's why I go live. That way I don't have to edit. It is what it is. Yeah.
Oh, that's fair. I've started. That's kind of what I do. Like before, I would basically go live, record everything, and then time lapse it, and then put it on YouTube. And so now what I'm doing is I'm recording my streams and then just time lapsing those.
That's what I'm doing for this one. I was gonna time lapse this. That way I have like a quick art one and then a long form YouTube one. And I made a folder. It's called garbage. So this is all just garbage things. I'm gonna do aliens, conspiracy theories, Charlie Manson as CIA asset. Yeah.
Oh, dude. Rabbit holes.
The aliens ones is fun because there's so many ways to look at it. But then people get really mad. Well, I heard that people get really mad at the ancient alien theory because it takes away from the indigenous people. It's like, yeah, it does.
That's kind of why I didn't want to talk about it too. And it's also like, again, it's something you can't prove. There's like, it's complete conjecture. So like, it's hard to debate it without, like, it's hard to talk substantially about it without just making shit up and
you're making a lot of instances. There are some weird things, a couple artifacts and a couple cities where the timeline doesn't line up. God's coming down. There's a lot of these repeated stories throughout history, like DNA and like breeding with people. There's all these repeated histories, so it gets kind of tricky.
Yeah, I don't buy any of that shit.
But it's so fun.
I just don't. It is fun. I used to like wildly entertain it, and then I was like, no, I'm just gonna, like, I don't know. At some point, I decided that for whatever reason, it would be good to like just know all of to basically have a big bank of knowledge of the stuff that you could actually prove or point to evidence. And that's when I got into like, NASA footage and ex-military testimony and guys like Commander Fravor, because when people are like, well, where are the photos? Where's the video? You can be like, here's your link.
Right
Go
here.
check it out. And man, to listen to him describe that encounter is just like it's literally mind-boggling.
I love the hilarious part to me is how straightforward it is.
Oh yeah, he does not embellish. He does not he's funny, but in a really dry way. And you're just like, yeah, that's how I would expect a pilot to be.
How they used to freak out the campers.
Yes.
Like, yeah, because that would happen, right? Because if you saw that stealth bomber before you knew what a stealth bomber was, like, that's a fucking spaceship. That's,
Oh, absolutely, yeah.
Because for a while, and like maybe it's the government, but the more I heard about it, it's like, yeah, that would kind of change everything. You would win. Like, that is the ultimate win button. why haven't you
Yeah,
won
you
yet?
just
Yeah.
you're just done.
At this point, why haven't you won?
And like honestly, I don't know why, but I got caught up on another aspect of it a few years back, and it was like, okay, let's do a thought experiment here. Let's say let's just say UFOs are real. We don't necessarily know what they are, but let's just say they're real. Okay, so you got one of two options. They're real and they're aliens, or they're real and they're ours.
Yeah.
Okay. What's the simplest explanation? And I think most people would say,
yeah,
well, they're ours. Right? It's like it's so much easier to be like, yeah, they're military,
high-level military,
and they're awesome, and they're high-level military, and they're classified, right? And it's so like it requires so much less going out on a limb than like they're aliens from another planet or another dimension. All right, so we have these craft, they're ours. If they're ours, whose are they? I'm gonna probably go with America.
Yeah.
I know I'm American, and it probably sounds biased, but when you look at our fucking defense budget, like we outspend every other country combined.
Big army.
And after World War II, which was where all the rocket technology came from, it was just us and Russia. So you could say maybe Russia, but probably America.
I can see that.
Let's err on the side of caution, and let's say it's both. Let's say that both countries developed nukes, developed rockets, and eventually developed whatever these things are. Let's call it gravity propulsion or whatever you want to call it. All right, so we've got like the Occam's razor simplest explanation. There's no aliens involved. There's nothing crazy. I'm also going to guess that these things are not running on fucking diesel fuel. Like, they're super quiet. They seem to like work with gravity somehow. Like they're not they're not aerodynamic. There's no intake engine, there's no ramjet, there's no exhaust. But they're still moving, and they're moving faster than other things. So yeah, let's just assume they have some crazy super propulsion system. Why doesn't every car in the fucking world have the same thing? Why are we still burning fossil fuels? Why are we fighting over energy and oil? It literally doesn't make any sense, because like you said, we have the instant win. So what's keeping us from just being like, hey, look, we pretended that these weren't ours, but they're ours, and we own the planet now. Deal with it. And I know that probably sounds imperial,
when
but
you got a weapon like that,
like,
you can be
just based on human nature, you would think like, well, you know, if you have it, use it, right? And that's honestly why I err on the side of they're aliens. One of the reasons is that they're like not of this world. Because if we had that kind of technology, we might not have it in our cars, but you can bet that it would be in all the military aircraft.
Mm-hmm.
Like, why would you risk a stealth bomber that you have to like refuel halfway through its flight to go bomb something if you have this craft that can go 20,000 miles an hour? Makes no sense. Like, you could literally hop over there, bomb a bunch of shit, and be back in like an hour. Whereas a B-12 is like a 36-hour round trip.
It's the instant win. So yeah, having it be government just doesn't make a human doesn't make a lot of sense.
Yeah. And so, you know, and also like a couple of my experiences have been very esoteric in nature, and very like hard to quantify with what I like, which is evidence. It's mostly based on like feelings and synchronicities. And honestly, when I think about it, I'm like, oh, that's my extra weird part of my story. Like, you know, I tell a lot of people that I saw a light in the sky once, and I thought it was a plane until it stopped moving. What the hell can stop moving in mid-flight, right? Like we can't do that. What I don't tell everybody is that I'm pretty sure whatever it was heard me talking about it, and that's why it stopped. Like, like there was this weird moment where I was talking to my girlfriend at the time, and I was just like, that's weird. That doesn't look like a plane. And literally, as soon as I said that, it just stopped. And and it was like I'm not scared of a lot of things. Like I like to think I'm not. But it was literally the most scared I have been in my entire life. Like just this wave of panic rolled over me when it stopped, because it was like it heard me, and I was just like I felt small and powerless and like watched. Like I got the distinct impression I was being watched. And you know, none of that is provable.
Yep. Nope.
Like
yeah.
none of that, like even if I had a video of it, I couldn't prove to you that it was watching me, but like it was fucking watching
we
me.
have that weird sixth sense about us when someone's close by.
I talk about that more candidly when I'm not like on stream and stuff, but I believe that. I think there's
we emit an.
There's like a, and you know,
I was gonna say we emit an energy. Like you can feel it. Like the air moves a little bit. Someone's breathing pushes the air. You know, if you look at the butterfly flaps its wing in Beijing kind of thing. So someone just moving and breathing shifts the air, and like we can sense that kind of stuff to a degree.
Yeah, I think you know, I mean, if you've ever seen like the gunship camera from like a Black Hawk helicopter, just like extrapolate that out a couple thousand years, and you know, they can probably see us in HD with like thermal imaging, like heartbeat sensors, you know, like the whole fucking works.
It's just another 3D image on their side.
Yeah, and they can probably do it, you know, from orbit.
So yeah, that's the thing of those Tic Tacs. The idea is that they come from technically outer space. I didn't get the impression on where at some point it has to come into radar. Right? So it's coming from beyond radar into radar or into detection.
Yeah, so it's in space. Yeah, they're totally like, and I think he even says that in his interview that, you know, these things are coming down from space because they're coming down to like 60,000 feet, never getting below that and then going back up and disappearing.
That's weird. And so that's how these come in and out. It's been really strange. What is this you're drawing? Oh, right on.
Yeah, I didn't like the painterly thing I was doing, so I'm doing it more traditional. Cause in my dream, this like, you know how they do Venom in the comics? How he's like goopy black. It was like that. But it was like, but I also got the impression that it was underwater. Okay. So when I color it, I'll do like bubbles and stuff. Yeah. I'm kind of taking some artistic license with it now anyway. But yeah, there's my pencils. That was fun.
Well, it's like I remember Kevin Smith said because he's the director, when he improvs on set, it's a rewrite.
Yep, exactly. Plus, this is like personal art, so I can just do whatever the hell I want. It doesn't matter. Like, and I there's also certain pieces that, like, you know what you want them to look like, and I'm not going to be able to do that with paint yet. So even if I end up painting it later, it's good to have like a drawing, an illustration of it.
True story.
I like to think of it as my underpainting or my underdrawing, because it's always there. I can always go back to that at the very least.
Yeah, I've been trying to just spend more time with my pieces. It's like if it takes a month, it takes a month.
Yep.
Right now, a little less art, a little more on projects. So it's been kind of tricky. Well, it's that I'm working on a comic with Kenneth. It was supposed to go to. It was supposed to go to Heroes, but Heroes canceled or postponed. And so we got to figure out what to do with that now. Maybe a Kickstarter. And his stuff is good, so I'm super excited. Yeah.
Dude, his stuff is real good.
And then I've been working on a pro wrestling zine and then a Boku no Hero zine. I was working on an art club zine, but that may shift to video content as a better platform, because especially now, the idea of having all the books together was having like a big wall of books and be that big footprint. But if you're not doing it in person, it doesn't really matter. So
that's true.
Point, so I can take my time. Probably better one by one, anyways. You don't want to fatigue your audience too quickly.
Yep.
Whatever audience I have.
Yeah, I'm learning that. Yeah, I don't know if either one of us has much of an audience, but I try not to spam them, even if they don't exist.
I got a job, so I gotta pace myself and do other things like this thing.
Go.
It's kind of a fun drawing for the podcast, but it's also, I'm using all Kiritake stuff for the most part, so I'm showing off all the different brushes, all the different inks that it can do on this really nice soft paper. Crazy.
Yeah, I figured. I was like, I'll just do something I don't do enough of, which is just like drawing for fun. Everything's always work focused, and especially with everything going on, it's like I'm probably a little hyper focused on work. I should probably take more time to chill. That's kind of why I took today off to just play games. I just need to veg out for like a day.
I've been playing XCOM. Have you ever heard of this game? Yeah. So.
Oh yeah.
Shooting aliens. Recently, it's been fun. I wonder.
Shooting aliens is fun. Speaking of,
I wonder how they feel about it. At that point, I guess they don't. Once you like master atoms and electrons.
Yeah. Again, I don't think they care.
Why? You don't do it for the gram anymore at that point. What's the gram for?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You are the gram. Like, you control the entire gram.
Processes and all sorts of craziness.
Reminds me of another part of our conversation I was having last week with my buddies. You ever heard of Whitley Strieber? The book called Communion. So he's one of the first like classic alien abduction stories. And there's a movie that's a little trippier than the book. The movie's really good. It stars Christopher Walken from like the 80s. Oh, it's like I highly suggest you watch it at least once. It's called Communion. Probably find you a torrent of it even. But his story is weird too, because like, you know, it starts off with him like he has like he's a writer, or he's trying to be a writer, and he has like a house, like they have an apartment, but then there's like a family house or something that's like, excuse me.
Bless you.
Oh, excuse me. He's got like a vacation house or something that's like in upstate New York, I think, where he goes and takes his family to write. And they take some friends one day, and they all have this weird experience that they can't really explain that night. And it freaks his friends out. I think his friends ended up saying that they just saw like weird lights outside, like lights in the sky, kind of like low over this farm. But over the course of, probably months, maybe years, he tells the story of, it starts off as like these weird lights in the sky. Then I start having these weird experiences, these weird dreams where these creatures are coming and like talking to me and like taking me away into a ship. Super classic alien abduction stuff. And then it gets super weird, right? So like in the movie, they it's much better visually, but he's basically on the ship. surrounded by what you would consider like classic aliens, like tall, skinny, big almond eyes, and they don't really talk. And there's a moment where he like goes to touch one of their faces, and he grabs its face and like peels off the face, and under the face is like a different alien face.
Okay.
And we were talking about how when you take it all in, it's the distinct impression of like, you're going to see what I want you to see, no matter what. We're going to show you this because it's what we're going to show you. But it's not really what we are. And you get that when you read some of the like the super weird, you know, abduction or stories. And it's basically like, yeah, they can for lack of a better descriptor, they can control what you interpret. They
control the narrative. Like you don't
like totally, absolutely 100%. Like if they want to look like an owl, they're gonna look like an owl. You know, if they want you to know they were there, you'll know. If not, you won't. It's super creepy, honestly.
So is that level of control?
Yep.
How much do you go into the whole simulation theory? So are we in something that they control? Are we in something that we control? Are we part of a massive supercomputer that's supposed to solve the ultimate question kind of thing?
I don't know. I think they're probably trapped in here with us.
Whatever reality we're in this reality.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I think so. Yeah.
Have you heard about...
So like they're not external to it. They're here too. But I think they have a much like I don't know, because to me they're not mutually exclusive. Like you can have simulation theory and aliens at the same time. Like without like they're just part of the simulation, right? Like we all are. Like at that point, you know, werewolves are part of the simulation.
If their ships are beyond who says they are what we're seeing.
Yeah. Well, and one of my fun thought experiments is like, what if we are in a simulation and they figured out how to hack it? Like maybe they really are moving faster than light because they got the cheat code. You know, they're doing things that you're not supposed to even be able to do under any circumstances. Like you can't move at the speed of light. Like you can't. Like, well, based on everything we know, it can't be done. Because general relativity is stupid, and like as you approach the speed of light, you gain infinite density, and like you can't, like you just get heavier, like so you can never actually move at the speed of light. You could move at 99% the speed of light, but not 100. And even at the speed of light, you're still talking 4 or 5 years to the nearest star. If you can go that fast, like that's if you can go that fast.
That's what I like about the commander. He says, I believe because I look up and I see all those stars and planets. Like we can't be the only one.
Yeah. And like I said, that's pretty much the response I get from people when they ask me about my story. And I'm like, yeah. They're like, I don't doubt it. We're not alone. You know, it'd be stupid
just
to think
chances alone. Who knows? If we go back to the ancient alien stuff, like maybe these are, because I kept talking about Atlantis and how, especially these pods coming in and out, and how Atlantis like went up. There's stories of it blowing up, and some people are like it went up instead.
Yeah, like it lifted off.
And so if they've been around this entire time, they've just been checking up on us. And they kind of, what was that? District 9 or something like that? They crashed.
Yeah.
They crashed, like, fuck, I get back up there now. Like, alright, we're back up. But, you know, these monkeys are cool. When we got here, it was, you know, protozoids and shit. A couple of jellies. And now there's monkeys with nuclear weapons, and they're fighting over...
Now look at them. They're
fighting over these
imaginary
shit. Lines in the dirt. It's kind of weird.
Yeah. We're dumb. What can we say?
To be quite honest, that's how I look at the ants in my yard. I'm like, okay, how did you get
Yeah.
here? What's going on? Oh, you have a little home. Oh, that's kind of big. I gotta get rid of you. Yeah,
Yeah,
you look kind of
you're too
angry.
big. You're gonna like
Yeah.
maybe kill my dog, so you gotta go.
So check this out.
I like to entertain the idea of like the Star Trek
Okay.
universe, where like we're like because another weird thing about UFOs is like no two are the
Yeah.
same. Like I mean, sometimes two are the same, but like
There's a
there's everything from like flying saucers to flying eggs to like liquid
yeah.
psychedelic
Just
jellyfish. Like there's
the range
just
of it's
like
nuts.
yeah, the sheer size of it, and so like part of me thinks that there's legit like a
Oh,
ton of
okay.
life out there, like an absolute fuck ton of it, and for whatever reason, we're not
Yeah.
in the club yet. And honestly, it wouldn't be too easy to guess why we're not in the club
Yeah.
yet when you really think about it.
We're
Um,
we're
like we're
barely
dumb, we're stupid, we're
we're barely off
self-destructive.
planet.
Yeah, we're like barely lucid. Yeah. So I think a lot of it, I really like. That's where my brain goes. That's where like my
Yeah.
logical brain
That makes
goes.
sense.
Because again, like you said, there's that quote. Any sufficiently advanced thing is going to seem like magic to us.
We can't explain it.
But the same holds true. Like, dude, take an iPhone back 100 years and try to explain to somebody what it is. Like,
Yeah,
good
for
fucking
real.
luck.
Before like photography was created.
Yeah, like Wi-Fi. What's Wi-Fi? Well, you use it for the internet. Well, the internet. What's the internet? Like, you don't even have the frame of reference to start having the conversation. And it's like the ant thing. It's like how like you don't even have a language you can
Yeah, we
share.
gotta wait till we get there.
You ever read the book Contact? It's a good book. It kind of goes into that. Um, about like the only real shared language we could have is mathematics.
Yeah, because it controls everything, right? Math and physics
Yeah.
and science. Yeah.
Well, and it's universal too. It's like one is always one. There's no like misinterpreting that. Um, but yeah, I'll give you another spoiler since you've never read it. I don't think you will.
I don't.
You've seen the
Bits
movie,
and
right?
pieces. I believe so.
Bits and pieces. It's really good. It's a fun movie, right? Like they get a message
Yeah.
from space. The message says build a giant spaceship. They build a giant spaceship. She gets in it. Has this amazing like day-long adventure with a few other people. In the book, it's a
Okay.
couple other people, and comes back. But when she comes back, everyone on Earth thinks she's only been gone like 5 minutes, and they think she's crazy and that she hallucinated the whole thing. And in the book, there's like it's basically the ending after the end, right? So they built it. She's gone. She's come back. They don't believe her. She has this epiphany of like, oh, well, now I understand how religious people feel because like you when it comes down to it, you can't really prove
Yeah.
anything. But while she's gone, they tell her they're like the secret is in the number for pi. Like that's kind of what they leave her with. And she's like, okay. And so when she gets back, she starts studying pi. And at the very end of the book, there's a sequence where she's basically printing out the whole sequence
Yeah.
of pi, which is infinite as far as we know. And as she's printing it, like, because pi is random. It's like 18735 blah, blah, blah. Well, it starts just going 0. 0, 0, 0, 0. Like, it's just this, like hundreds of zeros. And then there's like a 1. And then there's a couple hundred more zeros and a 1. And then a 1. And as it's printing, as it's finishing, she realizes that the ones and the zeros draw out like a perfect circle in the number pi. And the implication is that whatever created this universe left proof of its creation in the
Gotcha.
number pi.
It makes, yeah.
Which
that's
is
how
really
you-
cool.
If you create a universe, that's how you leave your mark. You leave it in
Yeah.
the code somewhere.
You bury it in the code where like only the
Yeah.
smart monkeys can find it. So
That's cool.
I don't know. I kind of like that theory. Like, I don't necessarily know about a creator, but like, there's like, our like we definitely run on code. It
There's
seems
a rhyme and reason to a lot of it, right?
like call it like I think of it like the universal constants. I'm not smart enough to tell you what those are, but like the speed of light seems to be constant everywhere, and like certain processes happen that let matter form.
How we get gravity like gravity exists.
Yeah, and like they do simulations, and if you tweak the constant, like any constant, one way or another, like you basically get a whole different universe, and most of them
the whole thing
things can't exist.
All the laws in physics, all of it falls apart. It's too perfect.
And it's it's that question. It's like the chicken or egg question. It's like, okay, so is the universe fine-tuned for life, or is life just fine-tuned for the universe?
I can see that.
And it's hard to answer that because we've only got the one example of us that we know. But I legit think there's all these like Star Trek civilizations out there that we'll know about someday.
I remember reading a book called Out of a Silent Planet. I think it's
That's a good title.
I could be wrong, but it's about 2 or 3 guys who get off planet and they're on another planet, and it takes them a while to figure out where they are, and they realize, oh, we're on another planet, and the alien the creatures there are like, oh, you're from the silent planet. Like, what? It's like, yeah, you're from that. Like, we don't hear from you ever. So it's cool that you're out here. I was like, oh, okay. It's like their world is a little different. Cool. I vaguely remember reading all the details, but I remember that was a big part of it. That's why the book was called like that, because those guys were the ones who were from the silent planet.
That is most definitely C.S. Lewis. Published in 1938.
Yeah.
Damn.
I read it for. I went to a summer program up in Connecticut. That was fun.
This is a crazy description. Tell me if you got this from it. Out of Silent Planet gives voice to Lewis's concerns about the secularization of society and affirms that a return to traditional religious beliefs is the only means of its salvation.
Yeah. For some reason, it was about like self-discovery, getting away from things, because he had to go find himself somehow.
Gotcha.
It was
a lot of his work is tinged with Christianity.
Yeah, it was a
I'm sure it's still
Christian liberal school. So.
Oh yeah, it's true. I forget that.
It was an interesting summer program. It was on it felt like goddamn Thoreau. We were in a classroom that looked like an old-timey farm plantation looking thing. Like colonial era. There's no concrete, it's all gravel in the school area. The dorms, quote unquote, looked like a converted barn. Like an old-timey building. It was weird. Very book farm. Read a lot of literature. I read like that, Sir Gawain and the Green Knight, some other weird stuff. That was interesting times. But yeah, that was an interesting like way of looking at Earth, because it goes in the Star Trek thing, right? They don't contact anybody until they get there.
Yeah, it's the prime directive. You can't interfere. You have to they have to basically develop.
Yeah,
warp
that's
tech.
how it was, right?
And then you can say hello.
That's the universal thing. Like once Earth got warped, and then all of a sudden everything changed.
See, and I think in that scenario, our warp was nukes.
We just went crazy nuclear with it instead of going to warp. Well, maybe we'll get there. I don't know. It doesn't look good now.
We started splitting atoms. And they're like, oh, wait, hold on. These monkeys are doing some serious fucking physics down here.
And they're just sending in their...
Because to do that, you've got to understand a lot about the laws of physics to make a nuke. You really do. So much so that I can't really even explain it to you.
Have you ever seen a movie called Young Einstein? by Yahoo.
And a long
series.
time ago,
We
yeah.
watched it recently because
Yeah.
we were under quarantine.
Yeah.
And we were going through. Just Netflix just got boring, so I was like, "Fuck this! I have DVDs. I bought these DVDs for a
Nice.
reason. That's right, because they're amazing."
Yeah, he did.
But yeah, he split the atom to make foam and beer. That was the general concept. That was a fun, weird one.
Ridiculous.
But yeah, because then the Nazis were really into spaceshipy things. Were Americans back then too? I forget. The U.S. government, not as much as the Nazis. They were.
No, not really.
those guys
No,
were balls
yeah.
deep.
Honestly, the U.S. government pretty much just ignored
Yeah.
it for the longest time. Like, literally, they were like, look, people are crazy. They're just seeing
Yeah.
weird shit. But then as the years went on, you get more and more credible. You can only be like, oh, it's a crazy farmer for so long. It's kind of like Flavor when one of your own like top pilots is like, hey, I saw some weird shit. You kind of
And the
take it
funny
seriously.
part, the reaction of we don't know what it is, is so it makes so
Yep.
much sense. Especially when you
Oh,
talk to people
totally.
who have been in the military, it's like, oh, so that's their reaction. Yeah, that's their reaction. It's like, okay. It's been brilliant. I got tagged.
I'm getting you're
Oh, am I?
a little fuzzy
Okay.
again. Sorry,
I'm moving.
it's all good.
Gotta get to these spaceships. So the idea it's a beach ball inside of a sphere.
No, it's a cube
Oh yeah,
inside of a transparent.
it's a cube
beach
inside
ball.
of a transparent beach ball. I got it backwards.
Yeah. Yeah. So think of it like a Borg cube shoved inside a beach
Is it
ball.
floating inside of it, or is it like perfectly in it?
I got the impression it was like perfectly in it. Like when I drew it as basically where the points of the cube touched the beach ball. So it's literally like a platonic solid
Yeah.
in a platonic solid. It's just a cube and a sphere, like, and sharing the same space.
Ah, it's so weird. I seen that footage. It looks like a goddamn pixel glitch.
I think one of the most interesting things about him talking about it was when he said that it actively
Yeah.
jammed his radar, which is technically an act of war.
No, to me it's that too, but it's like, how do you know radar? Like, what is it doing?
Yeah. One, it's like, why are you jamming my radar? Because I'm gonna know you're jamming my radar.
Yeah. I wonder if it's like inherent in what it is. So what is radar?
Like defense mechanism, like a natural thing.
Now, what is high speed radar? So what is radar? Let's see. Okay.
The radio waves.
So it's like a send out, bounce back. We can detect the shape kind of thing. Okie dokie.
Yep. And it absorbed his radar, if I remember correctly. Which means it's an active, like because I guess there's passive and active. There's like two different kinds of radar jamming.
If it was doing on purpose.
And Pat, and I think, hold on, I'm gonna look this up so I know what the hell I'm talking about.
But that's only assuming if it's doing on purpose. What if it just absorbs radar or radio waves naturally? It will get all of our music.
Active radar jamming is a form of electronic countermeasures that intentionally sends out radio frequency signals to interfere with the operation of radar
Okay.
by saturating its receiver with noise or false information.
So whatever he was scanning, it was sending radio waves back.
Yeah. It was like, I see you looking at me, and I'm going to send you back like
Unless it was
noise.
just emitting radio, period. Like,
I'm not sure.
I wonder if that's a distinction that we can look at, because
I got the impression that it was something that like would not occur naturally.
well, to me it's like, well, however this engine is working, it may just emit radio waves.
Oh, you're right. No, there's several types of jamming.
Because that's the thing. It's like, so if you have to distinguish it was actively jamming you, like understanding like we have a thing called radar, and we shoot it at these things to detect it, and you're gonna actively be a countermeasure to that action.
Yeah. Here's interesting. The very last bit on the Wikipedia is jamming in nature. The jamming of bat sonar by certain tiger moth species has recently been confirmed. This can be seen as nature's equivalent of radar jamming.
Huh. Yeah. So
So it's not.
It happens in nature. We just use it because we're using part of it to detect something, and then we've.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm interested now because there's like 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. There's like 8 or 9 types of radar jamming, like of electronic jamming specifically. Okay. It's like frequency jamming. There's like alternating frequencies. There's what is barrage jamming. There's like changing frequencies so rapidly it appears as noise.
Yeah.
There's a bass jamming.
Blocking the radar implies intent.
Absolutely. Well, and it also implies knowledge that it was being scanned.
But it was just emitting weird radio waves to begin with, that our radar just doesn't work on it. That's different.
Yeah, like it wouldn't be seen as jamming. You would just see random radar
sorry,
waves.
Your shit just doesn't work here, which is also kind of crazy. Because we can only do that if we do it on purpose. If they're doing it on accident, that's a different. Like, okay, what are you doing?
Doing something fucking shady.
Because I always go back to the example. I heard like they can detect who you are via your unique heartbeat through buildings.
I wouldn't
like, so
put it past them.
Our military. So at that point, what is doing the scale to that level is insane.
Not necessarily. It's more about how fast you can process the data. Because if you gave me a bunch of heartbeats, I could tell them apart eventually.
That's true.
But a computer can do it in fucking real time.
Yeah. That's what we need, right? To get to where these things are, we just have to think faster.
Mm-hmm. That's why I think they're probably not entirely biological.
At that point, right?
Like, I'm sure, yeah. Like I seriously think it's like a combo, that it's like organic and machine combined.
If its goal at some point was to live forever.
Yep. I mean, if you wanted to go out in space and visit other civilizations, you're gonna have to be around for a while.
I remember reading a vampire book from White Wolf, and one of the vampires watched moss grow for 100 years. Like, he just sat in the sewer and just stared at it just to see how it grew.
It's like, I got some time to kill. Let's just.
All right. I love that concept.
So this is pretty cool. I've been messing with my stream a little bit.
All right.
And I've got.
Oh, right on.
Your screen, my screen, and my webcam. I dig it. So, hey, proof of concept complete. It will all work together.
That's fine. I'm doing an art club on Discord this Sunday. We'll see how that goes. Yeah.
Oh, cool. I finally started using that.
Cool. It's neat. The voice areas are kind of cool. Just general chats. Like, my stepson does it. He has a full server Discord server wide get together with his friends. Yeah.
That's awesome. That's what we chat on. Like, we'll take my buddy Sal, he takes the Discord output and channels it to his
Okay.
Twitch. So like if you're watching, you can hear us all talking together,
Yeah.
kind of like what I'm doing
That
now.
makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah.
At least hopefully everyone can hear you.
God damn, I know. I did one with Devin and got nothing on his side. One,
Oh, I know. I was
Yeah,
going to try to
no.
watch that one live.
and then the Kirby one.
Nope.
I started because I knew Kirby had like a following, so I kept an eye on the stream,
Yeah.
and someone caught it like, "Hey, your audio's bad." I was like, "Oh, cool, thank you." Yeah,
Nice.
so it's been interesting.
Yeah, there's always kinks to work out when you get started.
Especially on this
Kind of
crazy
sucks.
alien technology.
We're working on the outdated
For
shit.
real.
That's the problem.
We still care about physics.
Physics, what's that?
Because that's the general idea, right? You gotta stop caring about other things to pool your resources. To me, it's very like my game Civ that I play. If I dump all my, I can dump all my stuff into like weapons and science, but if someone attacks me, I'm dunsies. So, yeah. So if I want to go for that
Defense.
science victory, I gotta just pump everything into science, but be able to keep enough of an army to defend. But I tried that once. Like I'll just keep my empire kind of small, but I was going with the science victory. But then I got to a certain point where I had no aluminum on my land, so I couldn't build a spaceship. I was like, "Fuck!" So now I have to go back and like focus on building an army to invade somebody to get enough aluminum to build. Yeah,
To get their aluminum, that's fucking.
yeah. So, I was like,
Perfect.
God, so if you
Why are you killing all of us?
we
We gotta go to space, bitch.
motherfuckers. And I think one of the games it's the extension of that. Once you go into space, you're conquering the galaxy. Yeah, I was like, that's neat.
Oh, cool. Yeah, the game Spore was like that. I really
Oh,
liked
that game. That game has so much ambition. It has so much
It
ambition.
really did.
Yeah.
It kind of failed, but it tried.
Maybe better now, I feel. Maybe more possible these days.
Yeah, you could actually pull it off
CPU
now.
Like the crazy CPU power that we have now compared to just 10 years ago is insane. What's the idea? There's more computing power in our phones that launched the rockets to the moon.
Dude, there's more computer power in my Fitbit than there was in what we sent to the moon. Like Texas Instruments calculators have more.
Yeah, we have
more
a lot,
stuff.
don't we, in the area?
More.
We got Raytheon, we got Texas Instrument, there's Boeing, there's Bell, there's Lockheed.
Oh, bro, we are so high on the first strike list.
For real.
Like, you don't have to worry about surviving in a nuclear wasteland because
Yeah, we're gonna.
we won't.
I grew up in Dallas, so it never. How much Dallas shows up in things just never really occurred to me until I met people from smaller towns. It's like, oh yeah, your city is not constantly in the news. Huh. Yeah, because I
that's
say I'm
funny.
born and raised in Dallas, but
Sad.
people always like, where are you from? Like, no, I'm born and raised here. Because a lot of transplants to the area.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, am I on the screen? I need to mark off on my table where my camera is.
Yep, you totally do.
Do that.
You can do what I do, and like I just record kind of big, and then I crop
Wow.
it when I do like the
This
time
camera
lapse
seems
later.
to be a little too wide for my taste for that. I get too much. I get like carpet for where it is.
Ah,
I just want
No
to
one
zoom in
cares.
on the art. That's what I need. That's what I noticed on my grams. People like the art, not much else. Art and selfies. This is a selfie world.
all right, here's my quick version
Oh, right on.
of what I imagine. Yeah, I'm having fun just drawing whatever. Not like it's
Yeah.
super complicated to draw this, but
It's such a weird thing because it's like they can't tell if it's like a force field or something, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think he even says
I
that.
don't know what it is. This is kind of weird floaty thing.
It's a cube and a beach ball. There we go. And then in my drawing, I made it like the Borg cube, where it's like, it's got like all these
little lines on it. Yeah.
Like things etched into it, like it's not quite uniform. Oh wait, no. Fuck that all up. So what's yours going to? Like, are you doing it for a
I'm
thing?
just here to show off the pens. So I sell
Gotcha.
pens, so that's what I gotta do.
Well, you are streaming to my art channel also, so if you have any opinions about your pens,
I try to get on
you should
Twitch
share.
I'm having weird account issues. I gotta talk to these guys.
You can't
I
get on
have an
Twitch?
account and then I'm locked out of it somehow, and every time I try to reset it, I end up in a weird loop. So
Yeah,
so it's always like
sucks.
reset your password. Okay, now do this, and then it just locks up. I can tell I'm at a stopping point in the code. Yeah,
You're just like, nope.
Someone needs to look at my account and see what happened. So we'll see.
Gotcha.
I hear Twitch is the way to go. Unless you can understand the TikTok.
Yeah, I'm too old for TikTok. Way too old for TikTok.
I look at it as a very simple Premiere, because you can stack clips, and if you know how to shoot clips, you can stack your clips in a certain way to make a movie that you can set music to it.
Well, it's kind of, it's what you used to be able to do with Instagram. You used to be able to edit your video like per clip, and now you can't. It's God damn it, I did it again. Oh well. I drew everything on the wrong layer.
Yeah, that's
like you do.
They give us everything. They give us labels here. They give us a visual indication of what layer you're on. Like Photoshop gives you every opportunity to see what the fuck you're doing. Yeah, fuck it up. Here we are.
Yeah.
I'm proud of myself. I did this whole pen drawing, and not once did I try to do Control Z.
There you go. That's why I still like to ink traditionally. There's something about just doing it
to me,
for
there's
real.
something about the chaos in the pen or the brush that I can't. The computer is too perfect. There's not enough happenstance.
Yeah, there's no happy accidents with a computer. Like, there are, but they're discovered in a much different
Like that
way.
brushstroke is always that brushstroke, consistently.
Yep. And like that opacity is that opacity. Is it set at 50? Because that's what you're gonna get.
Like the temperature of the room doesn't affect it. Where has your pen been in the last day or so affects it.
There's my board cube.
Oh, there you go. Is the cube they see like smooth? It's just white, right?
Which one?
The ones they see, I think they talk about it on the podcast for a little bit, or they
I don't
Okay.
think he described it. If I remember correctly, he never actually describes he just says a
People
cube
just
and a
say
beach
that.
ball.
No, there's no descriptions like there's stuff on the cube.
No,
Okay.
none of that.
So they like that nice white Apple design. Everything's very simple.
Yep. It's all we talked about it. It's all 3D printed, one smooth surface.
Super rudimentary. No frills. They don't have rims on it.
I probably should have sent out a tweet and stuff that I was streaming. But
I
whatever.
tried that. I was like, I don't think people were paying attention. So
I'm at the point in streaming where no one pays attention.
it's hard, dude.
So
Yeah.
it's fine. Well, and I have to, it's funny. It goes to that whole thing about, we tie our self-worth to like our views and our likes. And I just remind myself that like the streaming is more for me.
Right on.
It's because like I'm going to be doing the work anyway. It's kind of why I started streaming, honestly, because something that you find out real quick when you stream art is that you're way more productive at art because you don't fuck around while you're on stream.
Oh yeah.
Like you're hyper focused on what you're doing, and it's like am I working or am I not working? Instead of like, oh, I'm gonna play a couple games and then work some, and then I'm gonna go outside with the dog and then work some more. It's like, no, I'm gonna stream for 3 hours. So I got 3 solid hours of work.
Said when he was doing a live, he was doing a Saturday Night Live. They had to do a juggle upside down, and he said he never nailed it until the live take, and that was the only time he nailed it.
I saw that exact same video. Yeah, he was like, we didn't think it was gonna work.
Just do it live. I kind of miss live arting in front of a crowd.
Yeah, I do too. That's another thing that streaming is kind of good for. It helps you with like the performative aspect of it.
Yeah.
I joke too that like it helps me with my anxiety a lot. Yeah, totally. But because of that, it also takes me a long time to like get warmed up. I'm usually like an hour in before I'm actually comfortable.
Yeah. You gotta do those warm-ups.
Yep. So yeah, I've just been. Anytime I got something I can show and I want to work on, I'll just stream it. No one watches. I'm still gonna be working. So.
I try not to tie like my self-worth to it, but I try to use it as like a platform for things. It's just part of the hustle.
Gotcha. Yep. Another part of it.
And just doing the production side, because I can do the production side, makes it a little easier to focus on. Because I like Kenneth. I just let Kenneth draw. I don't try to... I'll take his opinions on things, but I try to take care of all the other stuff for him, so he doesn't have to worry about it. Like the full gameplay for Heroes was like intense. You gotta do this, gotta do that, make an impression here, make a splash here, talk to these people, introduce these people. I was getting geared up to, wear the banner and run. Yeah, but now we just gotta shift gears.
Yeah, all the cons disappearing is a monkey wrench for sure.
Shifting. I know a lot of guys are doing like live auctions on Facebook and things. That's been cool.
Yep, I've seen a lot of like, I guess indie like online conventions pop up, which has been kind of cool.
We'll see. I don't think we'll get a show for a while, because just think about it, like, how comfortable are you gonna be in a room with 30,000 people shoulder to shoulder?
Yeah, like I don't know if I'll ever be comfortable in that situation.
And that can't be a thing for at least a while. If you look at like San Diego, where you're looking at 100,000 people, or New York Comic Con, 100,000 people. Like,
oh,
I'm not sure.
Yeah, how many people are gonna get sick from
that? Because it happened at PAX Prime one year. I want to say someone got either a really bad form of the flu or it was actual swine flu. Yeah, and a lot of I remember a couple of artists had I think it was Kurtz, had to stay in Seattle extra because he got sick. Because that's why he implemented the head nod. He's like, I'm not shaking hands anymore. I'm just gonna. And he drew little charts that here, make eye contact, move the head back to the original position, and that is the universal greeting that we're gonna use from now on. Is that Kronka is a real thing? Like, we're gonna get sick. It's a lot of people.
It is absolutely a real thing.
I'm curious what's gonna happen after bars open up. That's the big one.
Oh, I just realized if I switch my... Oh, have I not had your volume
no.
up this whole time? Oh, wait, no, there you go. Okay.
Yeah.
It's there. Yeah. No, if I switch... Yeah, because you know how OBS is. If you switch to a different scene, you don't have the audio set up correctly.
It is amazing and, like, super picky.
Yeah, no, it's just it's granular. Like you gotta have that shit planned out. So like I wanted to switch to a different view, but if I do, I lose your audio.
Which is why I like it, how granular it is. I try using some of the other free ones, and it's just a little too template-sized. I'm like,
Oh no, man, OBS is where it's at. It's like it's pretty standard. That's why I asked if you were using OBS or Streamlabs because those are the top.
I don't think I can. I don't think I can use.
It's basically.
Streamlabs. I think it's PC only.
Why not? Oh, it is PC only right now. Oh, you're right. Yeah, that's one of the downsides to it. But it's basically OBS with a different skin.
I imagine. This seems like a digital version of the broadcast stuff we were using at work. Yeah.
That's what it is.
This is what it is. Because I had a...
Yeah. It takes all the
boards and stuff.
Yeah, it takes all of the literally all of the functionality that's in OBS is exactly replicated in Streamlabs. I still don't know what the actual difference is.
Probably
because they do the same thing.
It's probably the coding how we got there.
Yeah, I think it has a lot more to do with the back end than the front end. I know it's a lot, like you can customize it, but not as much as OBS. OBS is like, it strikes me as being more for like the power user who wants to really control everything, whereas Streamlabs is like, here's the most common stuff. We're going to do most of it for you. You can just start streaming.
Yeah, a lot of posts where people read that Streamlabs is the easier route to go.
Yeah, definitely. Like, especially if you're gaming, it's more geared towards gamers. But I think for people like you and me who really want like we want control over the scenes and putting extras in and doing like backgrounds and overlays.
Bro,
I feel like
in my previous workplace we had live shows. Like I hosted webinars where we had lighting cues and different people. Like the host had a lighting setting, and then the presenter, when they walked up, you hit another button and their lights would go on, the other guy lights would go off. And we were like, I was gonna ramp it up to do a light show and then do a live broadcast, like a simultaneous broadcast, and then do a live broadcast on the internet.
That has to be so
because I had a point where I wanted to do play a video and then play a gag where it looks like it's not live and then have it be live. And then somehow get the live feed from the other side of the building to feed into what we were doing to make it sync up. And then once that worked, I was going to make sure everybody cleaned up because some of our presentations got rowdy. And then do a live webinar to the nationwide company. So I was already on this track anyways. It was fun. It was cool. Doing live events. It was a lot of learning. I even helped them put together their webinar event and brand it. Yeah,
that's crazy. I didn't realize I did that once.
We did a in-house webinar or in-house seminar where people came in. They got guest speakers and things. Because my point of view was, if we're gonna be experts in the field, we need to show off that we're experts in the field. And how else? What better way to do it nowadays is it besides a mini TED Talk, right? Do a cool presentation, and then you can. That's like that. Was it designer? Those people. They used to be like a really hardcore graphic design company, but they went more branding or future. I forget. Yeah.
Oh,
So,
Future. Yeah, the Future. I was like, I don't know
but
who you're
for
talking
them,
about.
like how else will you prove you know what you're talking about unless you talk about what you know? So I was gonna do that, and that was the
Sure.
live event in house. And then at one point, I recorded it, and then at one point, I wanted to stream another one. I remember my CEO looking at me saying, "Hey, Lun, are you taking pictures?" Like making sure I was taking pictures, and I'm standing in front of like 3 lenses on the table, and I just took a picture of him before I took that picture before he said that. I was like, yes.
Yeah,
If
I
you
think
look
I'm
at my
taking pictures.
phone and you look at the steps I take, I've 10 times more that day because I'm walking around taking pictures. I'm just in the building. Yeah. Yeah, the broadcast stuff has been fun. It's a way to stay connected, especially nowadays. So, real quick with the coronavirus, before we wrap this up, because it's getting a little long. That's almost
Oh
3 hours.
We're boring, whatever.
Is it man-made?
I don't think so.
I like to
Actually, no,
I like
absolutely,
to
it's not
entertain the
man-made.
idea
I'll say,
because it's not even like nefarious. I can see it being something that they were because you gotta like test antibodies, right? And I can totally see because you all know that cousin or that aunt or uncle who has that weird has that weird side job, and they're always hustling. So if you have sources of animals that you can sell in the wet market that you got for free, I would totally do that.
yeah,
Like
it's
just all
true.
it takes is some security guard or some worker who's part of the disposal team to like, you know what? I can get paid to get rid of this, then I can get paid again to sell it.
I think the current conspiracy theory is that it's not man-made, but it is man-altered.
Oh yes, I can see that.
And yeah, like I read something, and honestly, I need to read more before I make a judgment call. I tend not to believe it, but it basically said that like there's a possibility. God, I think even Trump touted it as a thing, but like there's a
Mm-hmm.
lab in Wuhan, and they were doing. I guess they just started up some kind of previously banned
Oh
research on coronaviruses. Yeah, and so someone's like, well, it'd be real easy to like alter it in the lab, and then for it to
yeah,
accidentally, get someone sick. And once that person is sick and out of the lab, well, there you go.
because we do that kind of stuff as a species, right? We do play
Oh
with
yeah,
viruses. It's a thing. Uh, Accidents do happen. Uh,
yep.
I don't like. It's hard to see how malicious it can be because it's not the best of weapons because it gets everywhere.
Yeah, like, and it
Yeah,
kills your own people. Like, that's why I don't
yeah,
think it's man made. It's too random. Like, if it's man made, it's
yeah.
very
Like
poorly
I think
done.
if it's man-made, it got out on accident. Because this is not helping anybody for the most part. Um, there's a lot of things that line up, like the labs and like where it came from and what it's doing. It's like okay, doing weird things. And it's mutating, or we're discovering new things about it.
Yeah, it hasn't technically mutated, but there
Yeah,
are different strains. I think that's the correct
I've
way to
been
say it.
playing Plague
Um,
Inc. on my phone again just to see how it works, and goddamn, it makes a lot of sense. Yeah, like
yeah,
when you're playing as a bacteria, the game plan is to stay dormant and infect everybody. And then from there you just go lethal super fast.
Oh
and you just wipe
I know
everybody
what
out
you're
before they
talking
can cure it. Uh, as a virus, you kind of want to stay unpredictable. So in the bacteria, every time you evolve a mutation on your own, I devolve it to stay under the radar. But as the virus, I kept all the mutations because they had to keep guessing on the cure. They didn't know what it was. So they're constantly shifting.
I gotcha.
And then at a certain point, I felt when I did it, I just went super deadly. And then as they're trying to get the cure, the systems are falling apart, and then to a certain point, they can't work on a cure anymore because all their infrastructure is broken.
Yeah, because you hit everybody at once.
Certain key people fall out. I'm like, okay. I'm playing as a fungus, and that's been difficult because they don't spread very well. Like that's the bacteria. You just kind of like chill out until you get everybody, and everybody it's pretty infectious. But once you start getting the stuff that really helps you be infectious, like sneezing and that kind of thing, people catch on.
Yeah, that's when everyone's like, wait, something's happening.
But with the virus, because you keep mutating and keep jumping around different symptoms, people don't know what it is. So it's like, oh, it's just this, and then nope, then you realize like all these different strains are the same one. Because I heard there's cases of corona in like November at the earliest.
Not confirmed, but yeah, they think maybe it's been around for a minute. Yeah, there was a lot of people sick, so I could see it.
Don't know what it was.
Honestly,
it's the flu. It's the pneumonia. Like a lot of people don't necessarily.
I mean, there was. Yeah, I had there was a friend of a friend that died in like November from bronchitis.
Oh wow!
If I remember correctly, which like bronchitis doesn't usually kill you.
That sucks.
So there's like that kind of stuff.
It's suspicious.
You know.
Yeah, for real. Am I on the stream? There I am.
So what else you working on? What are you working on this coming week?
I gotta figure out the schedule for the stream. I'm trying to do themes. Like this week was pro wrestling and storytelling in pro wrestling. And I started with somebody who moved around organizations. So how do you keep in character and keep true to your character while performing what your person who hired you, what they need you for? And then the second one was somebody who runs an organization here in the DFW area. So how do you tell your stories within one localized space? You're not moving around. You can stay focused on one thing. But you people come and go. Everybody's an independent contractor. If you bring in a superstar, how did that relay into your storyline? And then I talked to a friend from high school who was a pro wrestler for that group, and it's like how do you keep in character? What do you do to tell your story from curtain to curtain? And he talks about like things. I'm a heel, so I do these things. So I'm hoping to get Jake tomorrow, at least on a recording, to talk about storytelling in tabletop games, because he has a couple interesting like views and different methods and stuff, and different story techniques that he'll get through.
Yeah, I think the bit I caught, I think they were talking about.
Because I remember playing a game with him where he pulled me aside. That says, "All right, at the end of this, you're the bad guy, but you're gonna pretend to be a good guy, and we're not telling anybody about this." And so he'll play separate sessions with me where I did certain things. At a certain point, I committed a murder in the game, and then I joined the rest of the crew, and I was trying to investigate my own murder, my own crime. And I was trying to like divert them, but they just completely ignored me. And I was like, "Oh shit, I'm gonna get away with this. I don't have to like lie my way through this. All right, cool. Moving on." Yeah, and at a certain
awesome.
That's
a good DM
point,
right
my
there.
Character, the team thought I died, but I didn't. So he was gonna.
Oh hey, shout out! I think I'm getting rated. Oh, my friend Cryo Mera rated me in Twitch. What's up, guys? Sorry I didn't see the raid. We're talking UFOs and working on art and stuff
UFOs
over here.
Are the best.
they were spamming me with emojis till I noticed.
We're the one notified.
Yeah, that's a fun thing. It does, but it notifies me in the
yeah.
chat. So if I'm not, yeah, and like honestly, I got kind of lost fucking with my UFO photo over here, so I wasn't looking at the chat. Like I said, I glanced and it's like, oh,
Yeah.
emoji explosion.
That's why, like, production. I'm just leaning into the one man band kind of thing. Like, you know what? It's just me. It's not gonna be perfect. It is what it is.
Oh wow, yeah. What up
Oh
to the
shit.
35 people raiding me? Yeah, yeah. She's got a lot
That's
of good
cool.
followers. She's a real good artist. I'm gonna shout out
Yeah.
a
Shout
couple
him
people
out.
here real quick. Hold on, let me see. I noticed you, senpai. I see you. It's hilarious. Can you guys tell I'm new to twitching?
It's because we're old.
Yeah, we're old men. I don't know if you can tell. All right, I'm caught up. Thank you for the raid, Cryo. I'm talking with my buddy Lun. He's running a YouTube channel.
Yeah, because I can't get on Twitch.
So
For whatever.
yeah, he can't fit. He's having technical problems with Twitch. We need someone at Twitch to like sort his account out so he can log in. Do you just have a username you want to keep, or like what? Is there a reason you
Yeah,
can't just
because
start a new one?
it's a store name. Because
Oh
I'm kind
yeah,
of
you
looking
need
at
that.
like the project we're working with Kenneth is in conjunction with Anime Yankee, which is Ruby's anime company. But I'm looking at it as Fully Automatic is the publisher. You know what I mean?
Okay, cool.
Because it's all about creating platforms for artists to be successful, and I feel Kenneth is one of those characters that he probably should be more successful than he is. Part of that is I don't think he understands how to market because he's been working. That's the downside, I feel, when you're as an artist. Sometimes when you gotta dive deep into your marketing, your branding, and how to get your name out there, you don't work. And you,
Yeah, yeah. It's real easy to get
yeah,
caught in one or the other, and it's hard to split your time between the two. Like I probably spend too much time marketing and
yeah,
trying to get like high paying gigs that aren't necessarily the kind of
yeah.
art I
But you
want to
gotta
work
hustle to
on.
get that money, to get those gigs. So
You do. Gotta pay bills, man. It sucks sometimes. I mean, it doesn't suck. Let me rephrase that. It's fun to be
yeah,
able to draw for money, but you don't always get to draw
yeah.
what you want.
That's fine. Sometimes I got
Crushed
yeah.
builds.
Sometimes I
Thank you.
gotta pay the bills. So I gotta make an email to sell Weber grills.
Yep. Like right now, I'm doing all those
Oh
anatomical
yeah,
illustrations. Like they're interesting, and I'm learning a lot. It's not what I would choose to
yeah,
draw, but
yeah.
yeah.
That
One of my chatters says use the store name with an underscore if you
that's
have
true.
to. Yeah, I see a lot of that where it's like art, like mine's Art of War, like, but it could be art
That's
underscore of
true.
underscore. Yes, please all follow. I need to break that 50 follower count so I can get
Oh
affiliate
yeah,
and get more tools. Yeah, I like how Twitch gamifies their platform.
yep.
It's fun, and it kind of fosters
It's
community
a newer
instead
company.
of like competition. Whatever. I've had this account since, well, not this account, but I've had an account since it was
Oh wow,
Justin.tv back when my conspiracy theory friend used to host his
that's funny.
podcast on it.
But it feels like a new, like how it acts. It feels like a newer company versus when you get to some companies been around for 40, 50, 60 years. You get
Oh, absolutely. Well, and they have to stay
yeah,
on top
especially
of it too.
nowadays. Gotta cheat the label. Where's the label? Is it worn off? There
Thank
it
you
is.
again, Cryo. Hey, I'm gonna show them your work. So
Go right ahead.
let me yeah, I'm gonna do this on the fly in OBS because I can't change the
Oh yeah.
scene. Because if I change the scene, I'll lose your audio, which is baseballs.
Well, you just
Oh,
gotta
it's
throw
so
in,
close.
then just you
Oh,
gotta
there it
add
is.
in the audio, right, to this new scene.
Yeah. So here's his UFO drawing, guys. Can you turn it 90 degrees? Counterclockwise?
Oh, right on.
The other way, yeah.
Yeah.
Is that your mic?
I'm in a small space. It's like an old work desk. I bought this when I was. God, when did I get this desk? I got this desk freshman year in high school. So there's no real computer setup made for it.
Cryo says cool ink work. Yeah, she's a fellow inker. Most of her stuff is pen and ink. She does really good pen and ink stuff. That's why I found her.
I'm trying to get more into it.
I love inking.
Yeah, it's for me though. It's because it makes me a lazy pencilist or penciler. So I do everything.
Really, I found the opposite. Like I found that like my pencils have to be really tight now, or my inks get super sloppy.
I can see that.
Here's what I was working on, guys. This is a Boba Fett from a couple days ago.
Become a pin at some point.
It is going to be a pin at some point. I'm gonna do one or two more versions of it, and then pick one. Let's see. How do I say this name? Futneraz. I'm just gonna call you Fut. Yeah, Fut. This is Boba. If you want to see Mando, here's my Mandalorian. And I have enamel pins of this for sale on my website at the moment, artofwarlick.com. If you're into pins.
Pins are a thing now.
They are. It's funny. They're like my best-selling thing now.
It's product. We kind of saw it on the anime side. So what we saw was a move away from prints and books, and more into like knickknacks, especially things that are a little more practical. Because at a certain point, you can't keep buying prints. You just run out of wall space. But a bunch of little pins you can totally stick on a jacket until forever.
And I went the original art route where I was collecting art for a while, but it's the same thing. It's like you get so much and you can't put it on the walls anymore. You have to start putting it in a book, and then it seems counterproductive to buy it and store it away.
We don't have a lot of room left in the living room. And I know I got pieces in the flat file and pieces in a portfolio somewhere. So...
Thanks for the alert, Cryo. I'm going to be on for a while, so holla. Yeah, that's the other cool thing I like about Twitch is it's a little more informal than like YouTube feels to me, especially in like for the artist community because it's like breaks are encouraged. So at like the 3-hour mark, I like throw up a break screen and go like get my head right, get a snack, top off my coffee, whatever.
Experience live, like that's the goal. That's the big functionality of it. It's live. Versus YouTube is like a show that you watch.
Yeah, YouTube is more like on your own time, I feel. That's why I like double dipping content and like streaming stuff live and then putting the edit, like the time-lapse edit up on YouTube. It seems a good way to go.
Yeah, I always tell people use different platforms for different things. Have you got any COVID work at all?
I have not gotten any COVID work
or something.
I have had a company that pivoted. I'm doing some web design for a company, and we were like in the middle of a design project when it hit, and they had to like pivot hard because they basically serve the restaurant and hospitality industries. Yeah. So like they do like labor management software. And so immediately, like, half of their clients cut their budget in half, and everyone freaked out and started making moves. But they've been around long enough. They got enough capital. They're not hurting yet. Yeah, I mean, we just signed another design project with them. So like I got to do another batch of web design stuff in the next week or two. Start that next week.
I got a lot of ads for printers because I do all the publishing stuff and printing stuff. So a lot of the printers are like, hey, you need signs for your store, you need banners for the outside to let people know you're open, that kind of stuff. I was like, oh, that's cool. Yeah,
it's funny you mentioned that. A lot of the a lot of like the print shops we use are doing the same thing. Like I tried to order some stickers the other day, and Sticker Mule is like not taking new orders because they're like we're basically booked printing COVID stuff. You know, we'll let you know when we open back up.
That.
Let's see, Original Bojack says, I like Twitch as I'm a very isolated person. It allows me to learn to socialize again. YouTube just feels like TV, and I don't learn as much. I feel that. Yeah. I started off on YouTube, so like YouTube to me is like YouTube is where I go to like learn stuff.
It's programming. It's TV. We don't have like what is TV? I go to YouTube and watch 20-minute TV shows with no commercials.
Yeah, basically.
Or 10-minute TV shows with no commercials.
Almost everything I watch now is either art or science related too. I've tried to cut out the news diet down to small bits because I get lost in it. I'm way more productive when I'm not focused on the news.
Oh, Matt's spiraling.
Yeah, Matt read something that pissed him off.
He went down a political rabbit hole. We'll see him tomorrow.
It's funny. I hit a point about 2 or 3 weeks after the COVID thing hit where I was just like, you know what, I'm done. I was like, I'm raged out. I'm just gonna do art and make art.
Like to me, what I feel is like there's only so much I can do as a citizen. I believe my family would get mad at me if I stormed the White House. Cause hey man, I see on the news you can storm a government facility with weapons and nothing happens. If I want to go the other way, I can totally do it, but I can't do it. So I gotta build.
You can also open up your salon in the snooty part of Dallas, and they'll retroactively change executive orders for you. You just got to be a rich white woman.
Shit. It's like, oh, cool. I'm gonna open my business then. This was hard to open up a business at this point. You gotta do curbside all the way.
Yeah, you can't do much more. Hold on a second. I thought. Did I hear something? Don't think so. It's weird. I'm not used to streaming with headphones on. Usually, I just stream raw, talking to the snowball, but with the headphones on, it like I feel like I'm in a cave, and so like every once in a while I realize, oh, there's like cats and dogs and shit around me.
Oh yeah, in your household, I get cats outside of my house fighting. Well,
that sounds awful.
So there's something living underneath the barn in the back, or the shed in the back. I see every once in a while. There was a dog in my backyard for a bit. I haven't seen it in a while. It dug a giant hole, which I'm now using as a compost pile, which is thankful. I was like, okay, cool, you dug me a hole. I'll use this thing. Yeah.
How random.
For some reason, because it's about the size of the dog, for some reason I feel it did it to keep warm and or cool.
Yeah, probably. That's how they build dens.
It's just I have another one in the back of my backyard. It's a giant backyard, for me at least. So I was like, oh, I'll just start a compost. I'll just use this hole here. It's already here. And then the cat lives underneath, and I think it fights with the other cat in the neighborhood. It's like, no, I was here first, bitch. Outie. Yeah.
And I'm out. Nah. Yeah, we don't have we have a lot of squirrels. That's really about it here.
I've only seen 1 or 2 squirrels, but I see a lot of cats. That's probably why I don't see a lot of squirrels.
Yeah, there's usually one or the other. I'm on the second floor, and there's lots of trees, so it's like the perfect squirrel breeding ground. It's like that, and then it's the really rude woman across the street and all her dogs. Her dogs bark, and she just yells at them. But she just kind of like stands, like she just sits on her porch and yells at her dogs all day. Yeah, it can be nerve-wracking. I may have gotten into a screaming argument with her today.
Matt, don't do that. I remember
just couldn't take it.
Bobby Lee, he said he was at a movie theater and he was laughing loudly at it was a scary movie, so he was freaking out. He's being weird. And then someone shushed him. And then afterwards he said, we were wrong. The girlfriend was like, So we were following them through the mall, yelling at them. Yeah, she's like,
Oh, wow.
we should have just said sorry and walked away. Like,
Yeah,
was
absolutely.
awesome.
Yeah. Like, I kind of felt bad afterwards, but like at the same time, I know like it's a problem in our neighborhood. Like
Yeah,
like everyone knows her because she just sits out there and screams all day, but no one wants to say
yeah.
anything.
Gotta do something, right?
Yeah. I just hit a point today. I was doing something. I think I was trying to read, and like it's just the
Uh,
shrillest, like high pitched scream. I was just like, I can't. And to be fair, I'm not the most tactful person, but I was just like, could you please shut up? And I got back like just a fuck you, you skinny fuck, like go the fuck inside and like do some drugs. And I was like, what?
Jesus, that's an interesting place to go right away.
Yeah, it was super, super. She's got issues,
Yeah,
you can tell. I don't want to talk too badly about her, but if you've ever had one of those neighbors, you know what I'm talking about.
especially where you live.
Yeah, like
Oh,
everyone here's
really?
chill but
Okay.
her. Like all my other neighbors, yeah, they're super chill. Like I mean, they're loud, but
That's
they're
good.
like normal loud. Like I kind of live in the ghetto. Like I live on the east side. But it's just like
Yeah,
Mexican families. They just like party on the
they
weekends.
do.
It's not a big deal.
I talked.
They do seriously.
Asked,
There's like there's a cookout
I
like
asked my
every
coworker one day.
weekend.
It's like, was there like a Hispanic holiday, Mexican holiday? Because every Mexican family was like popping out in their yard. He's like, no, it's Saturday. I'm like, okay,
Yeah, it's just
gotcha,
Saturday.
bro.
It's just what they do. Like even
Yeah.
when we were locked down, even during
Mm-hmm.
lockdown, they have parties. But they don't just sit on the
Yeah.
porch and scream.
Yeah. We get music. We get some karaoke. It's not so bad. It's not like they ever play super late either.
Do
So
we?
by the time night rolls around, they're gone or they're done.
One of my chatters said, "Do you have the door-to-door tamale
Oh
lady?" And we
shit.
do not. But we have a door. We have a guy who. Well, we used to. I haven't seen him in a minute. We have a guy who used to roll a
Oh,
tamale cart
nice.
around. Um, but yeah, I haven't seen him and like I stopped seeing him before the lockdown. So I wonder what happened to
Yeah.
him.
We used to have a guy to drop by my office. I forget where he's at now. I followed him on Facebook. Salsa Louie. Yeah.
Okay, shout out to. Oh, it's you again. It's footer as it's the foot. He's my 50th. I got them 50. I got
Nice.
51 followers thanks to him and Crow Mara. Now I just got to get my average viewer count up, and then we'll see what perks being an affiliate
That's
brings,
cool.
if any. I think they keep your video
Oh,
on
okay.
demands longer. A few other things. Yeah. Like I said, it's gamified, so you like level up.
That's how you
It's
do it.
interesting.
That's how I look at
Just
life.
how you
That's
do
how I
it.
look at my jobs. Like honestly, it has like, looking at my previous job as a place to grind and level up. Like really, really helped me. Like I left that place with way
Yeah.
more skills than if I just did my job. Like I had to I had to actively do things to earn new skills, learn on the job. Uh, I remember in a meeting we're trying to sell a client on an app essentially, like an interactive thing that they can show on the screen like a presentation. And he kept asking for examples. And I was like, I don't have any. He looked at me. He's like, "Is this the first time you've done this?" He's like, "Yep, this is the first time we'll be doing this. I'll be figuring this out as I go." And he goes, "So you think you can pull it off?" Like, yeah, it all makes sense. I don't see why it won't work. He's like, "Okay." Then he gave us he's like,
Nice.
"All right." Then he paid for the project. I was like, "Hell yeah!"
It's a good attitude to have, though. I do that when people ask for stuff. I'm like if I legitimately think I can do it, I'm like, yeah, I'll learn
It's
how.
once you get into even like the broadcast stuff. Once you have the experience in say like Photoshop or Premiere or After Effects or just like learning Photoshop. From Photoshop and knowing the pen tool, you can learn Illustrator pretty quickly. And once you learn
Yep.
how to
Yep.
use the blocks and placement concept of InDesign, you can do more in Illustrator. You can now do a little more in Photoshop. You can do, and then once that all you can translate that into Premiere and After Effects pretty easily. I feel.
Yeah, Premiere was pretty easy to pick up because it's basically just Photoshop
Yeah.
with a timeline.
I look at Premiere as just an editing tool. It helps me do my cuts. Because that's how my friend looked at it. He says, you cut your movie in Premiere and then you clip out the scenes to do your special effects and After Effects. So out of Premiere, he'll have like a rough cut. I was like, okay, but he was he did commercials and things like that. So that's how he has a slightly different point of view.
No, he's got real experience.
Which is funny because I gave him a Photoshop file to translate into a motion graphic, and he says you have all these effects on these layers. I just don't know how to translate, so I have to do it this way. But when I was doing it, I understood how I was using Photoshop, so I knew how to make that same effect in Premiere or After Effects.
Oh yeah.
But he didn't know. He didn't use a lot of Photoshop, so he didn't know how to translate what I was doing in Photoshop into After Effects. And that's what happens when you hand off a project to somebody, anyways.
Yeah, you're just kind of at their mercy.
Are your layers named or not, or is it layer 83, group 25?
You gotta name those layers, son.
I end up doing it just as I go because I'm moving things around and I need them labeled so I can work quickly.
Yeah, I got in the habit doing web design because you have to label everything because like you're gonna hand it off to a developer and they have to know what they're looking at. And it's funny, I've gotten jobs too where they're like, can you send me a file? Like, can you send me an example file so I can see how you build your files? And it's funny because I prepped one specifically for that. Like I took an old web design and like that's the one I send out now because it's like every layer is named. And every layer is in a folder that is one section of the page.
Oh, wow.
And they're color coded.
Yeah, that's what.
Yeah, you've got to get specific. And then if you're working with something like Adobe XD where you're exporting stuff, you have like it has to be named because if you name it layer 83, it's going to export it as like layer 83.png, and then good luck.
Oh, you got to change that slice. Good luck.
Good luck finding it. I like that we've totally derailed from UFOs.
We're 3 hours, 4 hours into it now?
Yeah, we're like, what does OBS say? Let me see. Yeah, it's funny. I can't tell how long I've been streaming. There's no like. I mean, I'm sure I can, but there's no like quick way to tell how long I've been streaming.
Just hop on the tube. If I can get my mouse to it. There you go. Damn, wrong one. Let's see. Oh,
yeah, we're at 3 hours 15 minutes.
Yeah, started 3 hours ago.
Right on.
Aliens.
Yeah, you guys missed the first part of the conversation. We were talking about UFOs because that's kind of my thing. Yeah. But you can go to his YouTube and watch it.
Yep.
Do you have a custom URL?
Not yet.
Is it not yet?
I need 100 subscribers.
Hey guys, here I'm gonna share some love. Here's us streaming. You're gonna get some Inception going on.
Yeah.
Go follow Fully Artomatic on YouTube. I'm circling it now. Go follow, share the love. One of us. That's my favorite thing about Twitch. Actually, it reminds me of like old DeviantArt communities where it was like an actual community instead of everybody just trying to get the most likes and views. It's like, oh, let's hang out and we'll critique each other's work, and you show me what you're working on, I'll show you what I'm working on.
That's cool. That's been what I've been trying to encourage with the art club kids and all of us. Just always says steel sharpens steel, so you can only be better if you're around better people.
Yeah. Well, let me know if you want to call it. If you want to keep going.
What time? I probably should call it. I gotta.
All right. Yeah, I'm gonna take a streaming break. I need to stretch my legs.
Sounds good. Sounds fun. It was fun. We should do this again.
Yeah, we need to do like a Friday night
art jam.
We need to like just do a standing date.
Yeah.
Be our mandate.
Word. Especially now, I am working from home. They gave me the announcement today. I am here until.
Oh, nice.
I am working from home until June 30th.
Oh wow, that's a good chunk.
Yeah.
Yeah, let's just do weekly.
Like, dude,
What was the YouTube channel name? Here, hold on. It was. I'm just gonna copy a link into the chat.
Fully Artomatic. It is a pun. It is a gun pun, which wasn't so bad at the time, but now I'm not sure. But it's okay.
It would help if I spelled it right.
Artomatic.
Fully Artomatic. I spelled it Fult. Fult Artomatic.
So you go fully automatic.
Boom. I'll get you some followers.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah. Like I said, you got to build that community. It's much more constructive than just reading news and rage Facebooking.
Yeah, stay away from that Facebook, dog.
Dude, that's my goal is to like be pretty much Facebook free by like my birthday at the end of June.
That's good.
Like I'm trying to use it just less and less. Like try to post more art and like just art, just interact with other artists.
At one point, and it helped a lot, I actively went in and delete when you hit the letter F. You know how it kind of pre-does that Facebook for you?
Yeah.
I deleted it.
Oh, that's so smart.
And then on my bookmarks bar, I bookmarked my Facebook page, so I can go post things in my page. Then I bookmarked my profile. So I only really go to I try to only go to those two spots.
That's really smart. You have to be a lot more intentional.
Mm-hmm. And I'll go to the main one. I'll scroll through and see what's going on. But if it's like political craziness, I try to skim over it because it can't be good, you know. It can't be good.
Yeah.
And it's an echo chamber. I don't hear a lot of the other side, to be quite honest. I see it every once in a while, but Facebook knows pretty well, so it diverts it pretty quickly. So it's not healthy.
Yeah, I feel that. I'm much happier when I'm making stuff instead of just consuming stuff.
That's a good idea.
Original Bojack says done. He is subscribed. Woo-hoo. He or she is subscribed.
They are. Or they.
They also said, I don't use Facebook. I deleted it, but someone reopened it and seems to be using it for me.
I guess that works.
That sounds like a security issue.
Yeah, and that's the other thing too, right? Like, it's too good. Facebook is too aggressive and it's too good. It knows.
You know, it's funny. Like, I have such a love-hate relationship with it because the only reason I have it is because at one point it was really good for sharing art and getting work, getting sales.
Yep.
And it seems to be less and less good for that as time goes on.
Yeah, I think because the fake news got on way too hard.
Yeah, it's super political, and like I'm guilty of that too a lot. It's one of the reasons I've been trying not to post political stuff lately.
Did I ever tell you about the fake news I saw?
Uh-uh.
I saw a news post that Donald Trump got into a car accident on Preston Road. That was the headline. And then, or car accident, and then the two sentence below it was like Preston Road. It didn't make the grammar was bad. I was like, what the hell?
Yeah, it usually is.
What is this? And it was from like U.S. News, something very generic. So I clicked it, and it took me to like a GeoCities site. Like it wasn't GeoCities, but it looked like GeoCities.
Old school.
Like banners were is in a grid. The banner wasn't lining up. Things were flashing. Weird GIFs. I was like, what? I didn't even stay there. I automatically backed out because like, oh, spam site. I gotta get out of there.
Yeah.
Like, wait a goddamn minute. What did I just see? And I went back to found the post again, and it was funny because the comments were people who obviously didn't read the byline or the summary lines, only read the headlines and didn't click. And
yeah, there's a lot of that.
And that was when I found out that Facebook can track whether or not you read an article.
Yep. And so if you click it, they'll feed you more just to click.
Yeah. So if it was right after your election, so it felt like an leftover political ad that the AI was kind of just running on its own, and it was either at the end of the budget, so nothing made sense, or it just had gone rogue. Not rogue, but like it started to break down and didn't have any direction anymore. It was weird.
Yeah, someone left their campaign running, and like the auto-generated ads are still going.
And so it was because Facebook can tell if you read an article, if you clicked an article, if you engage with it. So as a person who's trying to astroturf, the people who just read the headlines, I would just write a sensational headline and put a bunk website behind it, because why put in that effort? And so the people who actually click on the website build an actual website for them to click through.
Yeah.
And so build an actual thing and send it that way, because we do it at we're graphic designers, we're branders. This is what we do to people.
Yeah, we've been parts of those teams that do that. Yeah. Maybe not for political stuff, but yeah, totally.
My team says we can tell if they're married or not married, or they're about to be married. We can tell if they have a family. We can tell what religion they are, and that's what they tell us straight up. We can, once you start overlapping those things, you can infer. You can start inferring a lot of things.
Yeah, you start building audiences and like finding the psychological profiles of the people you want to interact with your ad. It's
the
crazy.
Best story is Target told the dad that his daughter was pregnant.
Oh, I remember that story. Yeah.
Like, I was like, okay, it's the AI works.
That goes back to the machine learning, where it's like if you feed it the right data, it can process. Like it can, not only can it process it faster, but it can make connections that like a human brain might not see.
It's like, if I know this particular person always seems to really engage on these types of posts, I will make sure to show them only those types of posts.
I did. I still do it, but I report a lot of ads, like ads that I don't want to see, or that
you gotta train it.
But like you train it. I just report them, but I also make sure I interact with a ton of art.
Yeah.
Like I love every art piece that comes across my feed. I joined a bunch of art groups. I joined a bunch of like art appreciation groups.
That's good.
So like I'm in that big Jim Lee appreciation group, which is fun. Yeah. Like it's super positive. It's always just people sharing art and how awesome it is. There's never any politics.
That's good.
Yeah, just more of that kind of stuff.
Yeah, it's good for you at the end of the day.
Yeah, but like so many of my friends are always outraged too. It's hard to just gotta scroll past that outrage.
Yeah, it's been I've started just hiding them. Like, sorry, bro, you're not.
Yeah,
I can't help
you. I do the
30-day
snooze.
Yeah, I can't help you. You can't help me. Especially in this phase. And I'm not informed enough to bite back. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I look at it as like, that's not my. The full detail of it is just not my lane. I can't dig into it. It's a full-time. It's a career to go.
It is. Yeah, you have to pick one. It's like, all right, I'm gonna make art.
Yeah, that's what I gotta do. Especially in these times.
I'm just gonna make weird stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool. So I'm gonna wrap it up.
Yeah, let's wrap it up. All right, let's set a date. You want to just try to do like Fridays at like 10 or 11?
Let's do late night Fridays and just kind of keep it weird.
That's good for me too, because evidently Twitch likes you to have a schedule. Mm-hmm. Like, I mean, it's just like every other algorithm. They want you to like post up at the same times every week.
That's what I learned at BronyCon. We went to.
Okay, so make a note that we need to start our next one with that.
Be going to BronyCon?
Yes, I want to know what BronyCon taught you about the algorithm. Hold on, I'm going to make notes, because this is another thing I need to do. I need to start making notes for when I chat with people.
The Brony community is built on those things. Like, they're the celebrities within the community are YouTube celebrities. Like,
okay, yeah.
Like, besides the guests who are like make the show, the guests were YouTube guests. And so we sat down on a couple. My Ruby sat down on one that's more about marketing, and I sat down on one that's more about the hardware.
I bet it has a lot of overlap with VidCon.
Yeah. Probably same people.
Yeah.
The panel,
because VidCon's all YouTubers.
The panel I went to, the guy had a gimmick. He was very articulate. He had a very nice theater voice. He's done it a lot. He spoke a lot live, so it's not a big deal to him. And he went through all the hardware and stuff that he was talking about. It was the stuff I was looking at for my work at a $1 million trade show level. Like, this is kind of the stuff we were doing on a small scale on my workplace that we're gonna start ramping up from there. So it was very professional work. The quality they were looking at.
Nice.
Yeah, it was cool. Yeah, we can talk about BronyCon. It was a fun one.
Yeah, we'll kick that off. That'll give you an awesome thumbnail to make.
Oh yeah. My garbage file.
Yeah. Well, cool, man. It's fun hanging out.
For real. We'll do it.
Being socially distant is weird even when you're a hermit. Like, I think I've reached my limit. I need human interaction again.
You can only watch so many Netflix and YouTube before you gotta give something and have something respond back to you.
Yeah, like I love podcasts. I love listening to other people talk, but yeah, I want to be involved again.
You want someone to make sure you acknowledge you exist. I remember you and me were at a taco joint once, and no one was paying attention to us. Like, no one at the register was like, people in the kitchen just kind of looked at it, like our direction, and then just kept doing what they were doing. And you looked over at me, it's like, we died 10 minutes ago, and we just don't realize it. Yet.
Yeah, we're dead. This is what being a ghost is
I was like, for a split second, like, this would be like, no one. We're just standing here and no one cares. That would be so weird. Like, it's kind of what we're going through, right? We're going through day to day and not having things react to us because we're isolated.
Yeah.
It's tricky. So there's my old pirate ship with space aliens.
Here, I'm gonna blow it up again for the people in my chat.
That's what. I remember the guy says there's an account from Columbus about seeing something weird in the sky.
Yep.
So these guys have been around forever.
Turn it just a touch more if you
this
can.
Way?
It actually came out really, that way.
Oh, the camera's at a wonked out angle, bro.
Yeah.
It actually probably looked way more natural because the view is flipped 180. That's why the angle's so strange.
Oh, I see.
Well, once you flip it 180, like, it makes a little more sense. But yeah, I have I have no desk space, so I gotta make do. So I'm gonna.
If that doesn't sell, I might buy that from you just because I love UFO stuff. Now I kind of want it.
I'll keep adding to it. Cool. I'm gonna stop my stream. Peace out. Let me grab my logo.